unit apartment building and provide for the required flankage and the driveway from the proposed structure up onto Trainer Drive. I think that's all I have to promo on that particular application. So,
Any questions for the chair? Deputy Mayor Cody, and then followed by Councillor Yankoff, followed by Councillor Duran, and Councillor McKay.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Duff. We are here tonight to talk about 18 Trainer Street. And if you go back to the planning report in June, and you look at section 10.3.4, the approval authority, that in fact is a 2006 bylaw. That doesn't exist. So that's incorrect information. If you go down a little further to section 4.70.3, landscape open space, again, it's a 2006 bylaw. It doesn't exist. Okay? Council based their decisions on inaccurate information that was in that report back in June. Furthermore, wrong PID numbers were used in that report. If you look at the PID numbers, they reference properties on Sherwood Road. Nowhere close to Trainer Drive where we're talking about here tonight. And a resident member had asked at Planning Board last Monday night if these errors would be looked at IRAC. And of course the answer was yes. IRAC is going to look at these answers, these errors in the report. So I guess my question is, if they're going to look at the errors, why wouldn't we look to reconsider this application now and fix the errors? That's what was in the report in June, okay? What wasn't in the report in June was the landscape buffer, okay? Section 6.6.2, and it states, a buffer is to be used along any lot line, okay? That's any lot line. Doesn't matter if there's a house there or not. It's any lot line where different land uses are being used, okay? And that's what we have here tonight. We have a commercial property abutting against a residential property. So the buffer should be used along any lot line. And my question is, how do you put a driveway or a road through that buffer? You can't, okay? There's no authority in the bylaw that says you can put a road or a driveway through a buffer. Now, the mandatory land use buffer that features two different types of land use, as we have here, it's supported in our official plan on page 8. It's right here, okay? And it says, preserving existing residential low-density neighborhoods. There's nowhere else in the city that I can find where a C2 property's only entrance or exit is through a residential neighborhood. And for good reason. There's a reason for that. We have to follow our own bylaws. That's what we have to do here tonight, Council. And at the end of the day, Council, I know we're all here for the same reason. I know we are. We're here to better our neighborhoods, better the city, to make it a good place to work, to live, to play. So what I'm asking Council tonight is to reconsider this application. Let's put all the correct information on the table and let's make an informed decision.
Thank you. Councillor Yankoff,
you want me to reply to that?
do you want to take them all as a whole, or you want one
Well,
at
I
a
think we
time?
better take that one.
Sure, go ahead.
All I can say, I think on the numbering deal, I think Mr. Hooley addressed that 10 or 12 minutes ago as being non-material. It's the same narrative, it's just a different numbering thing. I think that's what Council Deputy Mayor Hooley is referring to. I defer to Mr. Forbes on some of the buffer zone. It's not the full length of the whole lot up to Malbec Road. I'll leave Mr.
We're getting into a lot of technical details. We disagree with the interpretation that came in the letter. In regard to the PID numbers, the PID numbers were incorrect in the report. The PID numbers were correct in the resolution. It would have definitely been an issue if they were not corrected in the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Forbes. Just before we go, Mr. Kelly, we're discussing the motion. Let's read the motion, please. Could you, for the public record?
Moved by Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor McCabe, that the request by John Barrett to reconsider Council's decision on June 8, 2020 to consolidate 18 Trainer Street, PID 889-873, and a portion of PID 388-199 be approved, Your Worship.
Be approved. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Yankoff, then Councillor McCabe.
Thank you, and thank you for your report and the time that David took with us to brief us. And Jason, thank you for saying everything that I wanted to say. So thanks for that, and I really appreciate it. It was well said. The part, because I'm on the planning board, anyone that read the minutes would see the questions that I asked. So just to reiterate my concerns, it was again around the whole land use buffer, and that basically, you know, the city had not informed us as council the existence of these new laws that would directly impact the consolidation. So that right there, one of those requirements was the land use buffer, which, as Jason mentioned, was in section 6.6. It's one of those critical new laws, and in addition to the landscape area requirements, which we did talk about, that's very different than the land use buffer, because the land use buffer, as Councillor Deputy Mayor Cody had said, and to reiterate, it is a continuous barrier. It's a fence along a line. So the bottom line is, with this land use buffer, it doesn't permit a private road to go on to Trainer. So therefore, I see that as new material facts that would satisfy reconsideration criteria 3.15.3.8. So I will be supporting the reconsideration for this lot consolidation. Thank you.
Councillor McCabe.
Do you want me to answer that?
Go respond, sir. Go respond.
Well,
please.
I read, and Mr. Forbes can probably back me up, that's why the lot consolidation and then that's why the lot consolidation took place, was to have a bigger space for the apartment building. Yes, no problem, up to 60 units, but the surplus of that is then the space put aside for the driveway, and then to the right of that is the 13 feet put away for the buffer, and it goes as deep as the two lots are. It doesn't go the full length of the R1L that front on Irwin Drive. Is that right, Mr. Forbes?
Yeah, it's, you know, we're a lot of these things that we're getting into,
Yeah.
like, this was a lot consolidation. There was a lot of material in that report. You see tons of lot consolidation applications. It says to consolidate two lots, and that's it. All of that information was provided in that report because of the sensitivities that staff realized in regard to this property. It was a unique property. It has historically been there a long time. The issue of asking for the traffic study, we've never asked for a traffic study on lot consolidation. We were trying our best to telegraph to council that this is to bring two lots together, but this is exactly what you're dealing with. Most of all of those details just come later with the building permit, but we were just indicating as effectively as we could, it's meeting the intent of the bylaw, and then there was a development agreement that was attached to it to make sure that any last minute details were tidied up, but most of it is all just a requirement of the zoning bylaw. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor McCabe
Sure.
and Councillor Bernard.
I do also feel that there is enough new information since the vote in June to reconsolidate the lots at 18 Trainer. Whether it's valid or not, I guess I'm not totally sure. And I do feel it's important to be fair to both the residents and the developer to have a look at this information to be sure we have the correct information. I'm not saying that my vote's going to change regarding the lot consolidation at 18 Trainer Street, but I would like to know that I voted on accurate and correct information. As I said, there's the issues that both Deputy Mayor and Councillor Yankoff have brought up in the second report that we read in November. For me, I read where the planner indicated that although the applicant may have some support for the position, in quote, and I read this as though there could be some validity to the applicant's information that came our way. I'm not confident that I had all the information or the correct information when I voted in June, so for this reason I will also be supporting reconsideration.
Councillor Duffy.
Fine.
Councillor Bernard.
Yep. So just so we're clear, the land use buffer that Councillor Yankoff brought up, is that a concern or no?
Look, we don't think that the concerns that were brought forward by the residents are something that it was
Okay.
done in error.
Okay. Because a lot of the stuff that was brought up, I thought we dealt with it while the lawyer was here while we were closed session for the last 50 minutes. So what I'm hearing now is the things that the lawyer already dealt with. So do I want to follow our bylaws? Yeah, I do. And so this is where I've been going back and forth, but at the end of the day, if we're going to follow our bylaws, we have a lawyer here and we have planning here telling us that in their opinion for the reconsideration doesn't meet any of the 3 thresholds that it needs to meet. It doesn't meet any of them. Which sounds to me like, okay, if you go with lot reconsideration and we go down that road and we do change it, then the developer goes to Iraq and he wins it. Because we didn't have one of the 3 thresholds for reconsideration anyway. So that's why we had so many questions for the lawyer, and I mean, that's why he's here. Would I like to go for reconsideration for the resident? Yeah. Is it legally by our bylaw? I want to follow the bylaw. And at the end of the day, it's not going to change it. It's only going to change it, make them happy for 2 months. And then it comes back and it's going to happen anyway. We might as well stick with what we voted on 6 months ago. So for that reason, I'll be voting to not go to a reconsideration.
Councillor Cloud?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you very much for your report, Councillor Duffy, Deputy Mayor. Your points were well taken as well. I guess for me, I talked to Jason a while ago on this, and that if anything new, that I would keep my mind open for reconsideration. And what I'm hearing now, unfortunately, is like I trust what Alex. He's an engineer, I'm not, and you can read any
Planner.
Planner, sorry.
There's somebody in the.
He's got a PN.
Sorry.
Got a PN.
I'll bring that.
He's a professional planner, and we got David Hooley here, who's a lawyer. I'm neither one, but I do trust Alex that in the nuts and bolts of a planning agreement, that they know what they're doing, right? And there could be a few nuts and bolts gone wrong as far as pin numbers, but if you look at the diagram, it was the property. It was just the wrong pin numbers. So I mean, can you change now because of this? And for what I see, all we're going to do is help the developer. I mean, the developer's going to have lots of fuel to go to there. And so I'll be supporting the original vote on June. I got to go with my lawyer and my planner. Thank you.
Any other? Councillor Twill, any thoughts?
Well, all of the correspondence from the members from the community were quite adamant, quite passionate, and I can tell you they did a lot of research, went over the bylaws and all the different sections of the bylaw and the official plan, and they raised some very accurate points. And it boils down to interpretation. And yes, we have a professional staff in the planning department, our solicitors, and I respect both our solicitors and our planning staff. Well, I think the solicitor said, at the end of the day, it's council's decision. Council has to make the decision. The community is very, very upset, and has been for a number of months. The issue of traffic in these neighborhood streets spilling into the various neighborhoods that make up this community, affecting 300 constituents. They've made it quite clear that that's not the type of planning principles and values that they want to adhere to. So I think we have a responsibility. At the end of the day, we take all the information and try to balance that, and at the end of the day, listen to the community. So I'll be voting tonight for the community.
Voting in support of the resolution, okay. Councillor Drawn?
Thank you, Your Worship. I was in line behind Councillor Yankoff, but I'll wait to the end. I believe that this request meets the requirements under 3.15.3 because it's new information. I voted against it back in June, but I think when we get more information, there's more discussion about what bylaw was used, the 206 or the 218. I believe that, we should reconsider this. I took a drive out there on Saturday, and I think every member of the community had a sign. They were coming out, talking, hoping that this council would reconsider this request on technical issues that they felt were relevant in this type of application. So, I understand people have different views on this, but, when you go out to the community and you speak to them, and they're very passionate about their community, and they're very scared for their community, I will certainly support a reconsideration. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. Question? Questions come? All those in favor, please raise your hand off the resolution. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
Okay, if I vote yea, it's for the reconsideration, correct?
Correct, to approve it. Do you have your package there?
Yes, I do, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's right there. Be approved.
So I'm voting for the reconsideration, correct?
Yes? Yay.
Okay, I vote in favor of the reconsideration.
Thank you. All those against, contrary. Okay, opposed, Councilors McLeod, Bernard, Duffy, and Ramsey. Okay,
Now, Your
Councilor,
Worship.
can we go on to number 2?
No, we have to find out now which of the 3 tests that your reasons met. I mean, people say they have a reason now, which of the 3? So this is the word from IRAC. They want to know the information of who voted and what they voted for, and so.
Yes. Just one second. Legal counsel.
I believe that what IRAC has is what we've just heard around the room. So I think people have, as best they could, they've summarized their thinking and their reasons, and so that it is what it is.
I think we would be repeating what we've said during the debate, correct? Councilor? Legal counsel? Is that true, David? We'd be basically repeating.
Unless somebody, if some councillor wants to add something to the reasons they've already given for why they voted the way they voted, then I'd say the record is closed.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, can we go on to number 2?
Sure.
So that's going to reconsideration. Correct? Yeah.
It's 4, yeah.
Is that number 2?
Second one on the agenda is 24 Water Street.
Is that what you have there, sir?
Why not to Houston?
What?
I'm sorry, yes, 190 Eustis.
The building
We'll just get it there.
Are they not reading your only trainers speech every day?
I don't know,
It should be number 1. That's number 1.
yeah.
Number 2?
The appointments of the,
Landed heritage, number 1.
There's 2 sets of resolutions. There's one concerning administration, and the other set's concerning land use. So, whatever the worship wants. Your worship, there's 2 sets of resolutions in planning.
Yeah, could we do the appointments first? Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah, whatever you want.
There should be 1 or 2. Okay, can you read them, sir?
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor McCabe, that pursuant to the requirements of Section 20 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap P-8, and the requirements of Section 2.1 of the Zoning and Development Bylaw, P8-2.2, Council hereby appoints Emily Traynor as designated development officer to administer provisions of the Zoning and Development Bylaw and any other bylaws under the Planning and Heritage Department regarding licensing, inspection, applications, and that this designation of authority shall cease if the job duties of this employee no longer require the designation, and if the employee terminates employment with the city of Charlottetown or upon further written notice.
You're a little concerned down there, Councilor Drawn. We can't see you in the camera, but what,
Yeah.
are you looking for the resolution?
Well, yeah, it says the Planning and Heritage, number 2 resolution, and it discusses about Karen Palmer's ability inspector.
Number
Number
1. Number 1. Starts off pursuant to the
Perfect.
requirements. You got that one?
the other side of the
Yeah,
page.
Great, thank
You
you.
calling the question there, Councilor Ramsey?
Yes, I am. So this means that you're basically under contract, correct, Mr. Forbes? Or Councilor Duffy? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yeah.
And then if there's no need anymore, they're terminated. Or the job is not there. Is that what that's basically telling us?
Well, Your Worship, this is
Read
less,
the last paragraph.
this is less to do about their term of employment. It has to do with they need to be, in order to sign documents, They need to be authorized by the council.
Council, this is just to authorize them to
Okay.
stamp the drawings.
And that designation only applies while they're working on your behalf. So if they leave the employee,
Yeah.
they don't have that ability.
So they know that this is from
Right.
Ward 5, Councilor Ramsey. Questions called? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Councilor Twill?
In favor?
Okay, that's an easy one.
Your worship, moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that pursuant to the City of Charlottetown Building Code Bylaw PH-DC.1, council hereby appoints Karen Palmer as building inspector to undertake inspections and approvals on buildings under the scope of Part 9 of the National Building Code, and that this designation of authority shall cease if the job duties of this employee no longer require the designation, if the employee terminates employment with the City of Charlottetown or upon further written notice.
Okay. Question?
Questions called?
All in favor? Councilor Twill?
In favor?
Your worship, moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that pursuant to the City of Charlottetown Building Code Bylaw PH-BC.1, council hereby appoints Shane Jones as building inspector to undertake inspections and approvals on buildings under the scope of Part 9 of the National Building Code. And the designation of the authority shall cease if the job duties of the employee no longer requires the designation, if the employee terminates employment with the City of Charlottetown or upon further written action.
Questions called?
Just one quick question.
You have a question there, Councilor Yanko? One?
I'm just wondering, why these are coming to council this evening. These clearly aren't all new employees, because I know that Mr. Jones, he's been with us for a while, hasn't he?
He is, but there's the previous authorizations. They're evolving in their training, right? So
Okay. Gotcha.
we're giving them more latitude to sign off on certain documents.
No,
So,
no problem. Thank you.
so their authority is retroactive.
Thank you for the clarification.
They weren't signing off on things they shouldn't have.
Don't know what they were signing before. Now it's all good. Thank you there, Mr. Forbes.
Questions called?
Questions, all in favor? Councilor Twill?
In favor?
Okay. Mr. Kelly?
Your worship, moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for variance to sections 28.2.1 of the zoning and development bylaw to reduce the required lot frontage from 20 meters to 12.7 meters in order to allow a 5-unit converted dwelling on the property located at 190 Houston Street, PID 346429, be approved, provided that the owner obtains an occupancy permit for the 5th unit and that the unit be brought up to all required building and fire codes.
Do you want to speak to Councilor Yankoff?
Thank you, and thank you for that. I will be supporting this, what do we actually call it, variance to reduce the lot frontage. And presently it is a 5-unit apartment building, but there's only 4 units that are presently permitted. So the owner of the building is willing to pay any past permit fees, penalties, work with building inspector, fire, and bring it up to code. He's even offered a piece of green space in front of his building and take it away from parking because he's got plenty of parking in the back. So I would hope that council sees this as a positive thing. Even in the notes from the planning department, they've noted that it's it's moderately high density using existing underground services. It's additional density without adversely affecting existing low density housing. So I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Yankoff.
Questions called?
Questions called? All those in favor? Did you have a question first, Councilor Toronto? Do you want to raise it? Thank
Hand
you.
up quick, yeah.
Okay,
sorry.
you're quick. Please raise your hands if you're in favor of these resolutions. So Councilor Ramsey, yes or no?
Yes, I have it up, Your Worship.
Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor?
Okay, those against? So it's 9-1, and Councilor Duffy.
Worship? Your Worship?
Do you wish to speak?
This is one here that the planning officer recommended rejection. Everybody in this room has voted for it except me. Councillor Yankoff has given her reasoning. The other 8 have not. So they'll have to go around again to put it on
It
tape.
says to be approved.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
planning department said reject.
Not in the resolution.
It's not the resolution saying reject.
Not on the resolution.
No, it's just saying approved.
But it doesn't have to be, the planning document is not on the resolution. The planning document is one of our planning officers wrote up the report for the planning board to meet on last Monday, which they did. And the report was to reject this application. Everybody in here, that's what I'm trying to tell you people, is you have to give a reason when you go against the planning person who wrote the report. He said, I recommend that you reject this application. 8 people in here approved it. So you're going to, and 1 at home approved it. So you're going to have to, and Councillor Yankoff gave it her reason. No one else did.
So Councillor Duffy, if I'm correct, it's a procedural issue, so this falls under the procedural bylaw. So I believe that we have to revisit the procedural bylaw, Mr. Hooley, do you think so? To cover this issue, because we're going to be here for a lot of long nights.
It's important to state cogent reasons
Yeah.
when you're going against the advice of the planning person who reviewed the file. They don't have to be long, they can be brief, and not every councillor necessarily has to speak. But there should be something on the record where you're deciding against what the advisor recommended to show that you were alive to the issue, you turned your mind to it, and you had a respectable reason for your decision.
Okay.
This was in the last paragraph of Mr. Hooley's note. of information.
No, I understand that, but again, Mr. Hooley's made it very clear.
Yeah.
He's legal advisor to council.
Yes.
The final decision comes down to mayor and council.
Yes.
So the authority rests with us. So if that authority means that we have to explain every vote, well, that's going to be a change in procedure.
Not every vote, just every vote where you make a decision different from the advice of your professional planner.
That's what I asked about, linking it back to the development officer.
Yeah, just 1 second. Councillor Bernard?
That being the case, Your Worship, I believe this, my understanding is this was a 5-unit. It's bringing it into conformity.
Yeah.
He's offering to pay all the legal bills, any bills he needs you to bring it into conformity. So for that reason, I mean, I'm okay with this.
Councillor McCabe?
My reasoning would be the same as Councillor Bernard's and Councillor Yankoff's, but also adding in that a month ago, we also approved a 5-unit coming to a 4-unit. And until we change and educate our people that we are going to put a stop to this and maybe enforce some fines and some things, it's very difficult for me not to support this application when a month ago we supported another application very similar.
And bringing in some reoffense ticket.
Absolutely.
Okay. Councillor McLeod, did you want to say something you were asking? I know that I jumped ahead.
Just basically, the only in reference to the one, if you're referring to the one on Kensington Road.
Yes.
That was a 3-unit that went to a 4-unit, which is allowed. Okay, no, it was 3 went to 4. And this is a 4 going to a 5, which is outside.
Well, it's going on.
But I'm very much in favor of approving this. My question is, but if it's signed off on the resolution tonight, and it's here, and it says to approve.
I know.
So, do we go with this, or do we go back?
Go with the minutes. Yeah. See, that's the issue.
That's my question.
Councillor Yankoff, you've already spoken to it. Councillor Rivera?
No.
You happy with it?
Nothing off.
Councillor Duran?
I agree with everyone else, yeah.
Councillor Ramsey?
I'm good to go, Your Worship.
Councillor Twill?
Call a question.
Councillor Twill?
For 190 Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, in favor, I said in favor.
Rationale? What's your rationale? Your reason?
My rationale?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there wasn't much of a difference in the variance from what was required. And, the resolution obviously came from the planning committee to approve it, so I support it. It meets the national building codes, the light and safety codes. Everything seems to be in order.
Okay.
These two over here, I don't think were valid, I'm not sure.
Well, that's like, how, we're going to start judging this.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't say anything.
I know, but
I did, I said I agree with all my fellow councillors.
I have nothing
Lots of
further
good
to
points.
offer. If I
To what
may,
was already said.
Yeah. Great. Just want to hear a repetition for 10 different people.
okay, we have to move on.
Yeah, really.
Okay, it's already been approved, it's 9-1. Okay, next
Moved
one.
by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor McCabe, that the request for variance to reduce.
Sorry, sir, go ahead.
Moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a variance to reduce the required setback for an exterior staircase from 3.9 feet to approximately 1 foot in order to permit the construction of a fire escape on the property located at 24 Water Street, PID 106-8105, be approved.
Question?
Question called.
Okay, all those in favor? All those against? Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
10-0.
Moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe. Resolved that the request to reduce the required front yard setback for a garden center from 12 meters to approximately 3.65 meters and reduce the required loading bays as per section 43.9.1 of the zoning and development bylaw from 6 bays to 3 bays for the property located at 20 Babineau Avenue, PID 105-4972 be approved.
Question, you have a question there, Councilor?
No.
Oh, good.
Amendment again.
You're quick tonight.
Keen.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a temporary structure variance under
I'm in
section...
conflict here, your worship, I work here.
At the university.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Number 4, your worship. Again, moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for temporary structure variance under section 3.9.1.f of the zoning and development bylaw in order to locate temporary construction camps on 2 separate vacant properties at 93 Belvedere Avenue, PID 373092, and 95 Belvedere Avenue, PID 373100, for a period of 1 year be approved.
Question?
I have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah, thank you.
Councilor?
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I spoke to this at the planning board meeting as well, and, you know, although I will support this temporary change of use, I'm a bit perplexed at why they didn't go through the process of looking for the long-term fix, because the trailers were there without permitted use for several months, probably since back in April. So I believe that a complaint was made, so therefore they brought it up to this temporary use so they could leave these, trailers there.
Well, I'm quite anxious tonight here.
So-
He's full of energy.
So once the
Energizer.
permit was issued, they're given a year. But I was questioning, why wouldn't the year be from the time the trailers appeared there, which was around April? But instead, they get the year starting whenever we decide to vote tonight. And so I was just a bit perplexed about that, and I wonder if, you know, maybe Chair Duffy, we could look at that going forward as we progress in our planning and processes and policies and things like that. And I will support it, but I still had those questions around it.
And good points to
Yeah, thank
made
you.
there, Councilor Yankoff.
Yeah.
And you made the same points at the planning meeting?
I did, at
Thank you.
planning board.
Planning board. Question?
Question called.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Your worship, moved by Councilor Duffy, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request to rezone a portion of the vacant property located on the corner of McCray Drive and Norwood Road, PID 192401, from the single detached residential R1L zone to the low density residential R2 zone be approved.
Alex?
Yes.
Could you invite Councilor Duffy, Councilor
Yes, I can.
Duran back here?
Good, Bob? Yeah. That's what I call my kids.
Okay. Do you have a question there, Councilor
Yeah, I just need to
McCabe?
speak to this
Yes, you
application.
can.
Sure, please. So this is in Ward 9, and I think it's important to note that residents are not against the rezoning of the majority of the lots in this request. The developer does do good work with his subdivisions, and developing this parcel of land makes sense. The residents do point out that the lots facing McCray Drive should mirror the R1 zone properties that are located there. So this is part of our East Royalty Master Plan, and planning staff did indicate that by doing this, it would not be such a drastic density change. The developer agreed to 4 lots remaining R1 on McCray Drive, but not the other 5 lots that are facing McCray Drive. And actually, one of the lots right beside an R1 property is being requested to be rezoned to an R2. You know, just to put a plug in here, knowing that East Royalty is exploding with development, we are going to have to make some commitment to some infrastructure and stuff in this area, and I'll be bringing that up later. But as far as this application, I'm not going to be able to support it with the 5 McCray lots not remaining in R1 as R1 properties.
Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you. Thank you for this. I had a really hard time with this, and in fact, in the planning board meeting, I had voted to not recommend it. And then I took a drive out, and then I looked, as Councillor Duffy said, at the recommendation from our planning staff. And I am a bit fearful that I don't have a strong enough reason to hold up to not support the planning department's reasons for this. But I would ask that we be very mindful in the development agreement that if the developer has agreed that 3 of these will be R1, we want to ensure that if the R2s go up and then they come back a few years later, we remember that they agreed to the 3 and we stand firm to those 3 so that we don't upset the, the flow of the neighborhood as drastically as it could potentially be.
Is that a development agreement? And Alex, do we have a development agreement with this, or that's the next stage?
It's really the next trade, so maybe
Okay,
a roads and
that's-
streets agreement, but again, that would just be dealt with through zoning in the future. If they want to change the zoning, they're going to have to come back. Is that what you were alluding to? If they-
Well, yes, and I just wondered if it would be included in the development agreement.
You can't project as to what somebody may do in the future, so Mr. Lee can speak to this, but I don't think we can't write something into an agreement that we anticipate somebody's going to do it, but if they do it, it's going to have to go back in front of the screw.
Plus, the
But I-
rezoning will come back here anyways.
Right,
But I
exactly.
suppose it will be a matter of public record that is there.
Yep. No, I think you noted it in the planning board meeting too. Thank you, Councillor Yankoff. Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. One of the things I think to me would be a concern is that there's, I think, 3 or 4 driveways, if I remember correctly, right across the street from the commercial buildings there, which is heavy trucking that goes all hours of the day and nights. And I don't think you want kids playing around or cars going in and driveways, but that 2 commercial entities that are there, and one of them, no trucks, all hours of the day. So to me, it can be re-looked at whether they put a cul-de-sac on that end or whatever to keep driveways off that street.
Are you
I
in
do
Burt
agree.
McKay? Is
I
that
do
you're talking
agree.
about?
We went through this Fisher plan with Councilor Hilton and myself over the years to try and get this mirroring on the other side of the street, and I do think that's important.
Yeah. So the truck traffic you're talking is from Burt McKay?
Yeah.
On Road-
Yeah. Their shops are on that street, so I think it was 4 driveways on the plan that were emptied out on that street right across from these commercial entities.
Deputy?
Yeah, and that's what I remember through your worship. Like Councilor McCabe had mentioned, the concerns of the residents, we have to start listening to the residents here a little bit more. The concern was to try and mirror the image of what is there,
Yeah.
and they could live with that. And this doesn't seem to fit that. So I mean, I'm not going to be supporting this resolution.
Councillor Rivera, then Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Your Worship. The 5 lots, Councillor McCabe, that you're referring to, we talked about mirroring, and I do remember the conversation that we've had in the past with regards to that. I'm just trying to draw a blank here. Is there properties there now that are already constructed that are right across when we talk about mirroring? So there are one, or is it just lots there that are zoned R1?
So across from those specific on the site plan, Alex, you can help me, I think is the horse farm,
Livingston Chapel.
correct? Like where the 5 lots coming down,
Okay.
but one of them would be right beside an R1 property on that left side of McCray Drive up towards the top. So he's trying, the next lot
Yeah.
beside that, he's trying to rezone that into an R2 as well.
So is there only one lot, Councillor McCabe, sorry, that's not mirrored, or is it? or is it
Well,
all
mirrored,
five?
I guess.
Or, when I look at mirroring, I think if you're building a single attached home, you want to, you'd expect one to be across the road to be an R1 single attached home, duplex. When we did the East Road master plan, that was one of the big things that we really focused on, is making sure that duplexes were
Face
zoned.
duplexes, yeah.
Face duplexes and so forth. I just want to make sure that these 5 lots are indeed mirroring
there was definitely discussion that they were front-facing on McCray Drive, which is R1 properties. Now, the horse farm across, Alex, what would that be zoned? I'm not quite
Guys,
sure.
just, again, Alex, we just have to put it through the
I'm
chair.
sorry.
And it's only
Chair.
just to better the flow of the information.
Okay.
Alex, can you just address both of the issues that brought up by
Again, it's
Council?
not my file, and I must confess, I haven't been out there,
Yeah.
but I do think it's just, I think it's the horse property, the large property, big
Yes.
square that's,
Yeah.
it's presently there. And if you look at your site plan attachment B, if you look at the house across the street, it's the house across the street that would be, it's a single detached dwelling, as well as the entrance into that subdivision. So what they're doing is, that's where the mirroring is going on. So where those existing houses are, beside the horse barn, across the street from the horse barn,
Yeah.
there's a large house, and then so they're, he's creating buffers where those existing houses are.
There is an actual parcel R1 across the street that would be on the corner of the Norwood Road extension and McCray Drive as well.
Correct.
That would be facing
Yep.
an R2 proposal.
Councilor Rivera?
Thank you.
You wanna ask?
Yeah, so if we have a fairly large subdivision like this, and we're that close to getting it right, because this has been here many times, instead of rejecting and sending back for a year, is there an appetite to defer it, to go back to the developer and say, listen, this is council instruction, we really would like to see, this mirrored, and then have them come back as opposed to waiting a year. Because it's been so many times, so to me, that would make, if we're that close,
Makes sense?
it would make sense to me.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
Chair's
Red
got a
Drive-
good point there. Yeah.
Very fine.
I'd like to put a resolution on the floor?
Yes, so deferred by Councilor Rivera, you're moving a deferral on this, that resolution.
I'll second that then.
Refer back, Your Worship.
What?
Refer back.
Refer back, okay, refer, okay. And seconded by Councilor Yankoff.
Yeah, that's a great compliment.
Any questions? No. All in favor? Councilor Guerrero?
In favor.
Okay. So it's referred back to
Oh, great.
planning. Well done there, Councilor Hart.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor Cave. The request to amend Appendix A of the official plan from commercial to low-density residential for a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466. 2, amend Appendix A of the official plan from commercial to recreational for a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466. 3, amend Appendix A of the official plan from recreational to low-density residential for a portion of the property along Petrie Lane, PID 676213. And 4, amend Appendix A of the official plan from commercial to low-density residential for a portion of the property along Petrie Lane, PID 1117167. 5, amend Appendix G of the zoning and development bylaw from the highway commercial C2 zone to the single detached residential large R1L zone for a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466. And 6, amend Appendix G of the zoning and development bylaw from the highway commercial C2 zone to the open space OS zone for a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466. And 7, amend Appendix G of the zoning and development bylaw from open space OS single detached residential large R1L for a portion of the properties along Petrie Lane, PID 1177167 and PID 676213 in order to construct a single detached dwelling be approved.
Deputy? Want to speak first?
Yeah.
Or do you want to speak to it first, Councilor Duffy?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, sure, thank you. So about a couple weeks ago, we went to a public meeting on this. A lot of residents had showed up, and in your package, there's a petition signed outlining the concerns that they have. And you know, the property owners on this street bought the property. It's a quiet street. It's a cul-de-sac. It's a dead end. And they really felt that the green space or open space around the cul-de-sac would provide protection from him so there'd be no other lots come off that cul-de-sac. So that's of great concern to them. The green space that we're looking to trade here, they don't find that the value of what we're giving up and what we're receiving is equal, not in terms of monetary value, just in terms of, you know, peace and aesthetics and streetscape. That's what they're focused on. I can say in the cul-de-sac, when Councillor Bernard was the chair of Public Works, the residents of the area looked after that cul-de-sac. They planted their own flowers and shrubs. That's how much they love this street. They're out as a little bit of a community gathering, if you will. And the comment was made that, you know, it's just kind of shrubs and dead trees along the cul-de-sac there where this proposed driveway will go through to get to the new house. And in fact, there's hardwood trees in there. There's maple, there's beech, there's birch, and there's mountain ash. So the residents of the area really, you know, have a connection with this. It's like I say, it's almost like a gathering place. There's a park in behind, but it really gives them peace of mind to have that green space around the cul-de-sac. So I won't be supporting this resolution.
Councillor Duffy, as chair,
Thank
you
you,
want us to
Mr.
respond?
Worship. I just make a few comments. For those of us who were at the public meeting at Rod's, I've never witnessed such an event. I was shocked at what I was hearing. This young couple want to settle down, build an R1 home on a cul-de-sac that has 9 duplexes on it, and these elderly people are, for the lack of a better term, giving them a rough time. I was not impressed that these young people are just starting out. They're going to make lovely neighbors. It's going to be a lovely home. We traded off some land for parkland in order for them to make a go of it. I wish them well, and I will certainly be supporting this resolution. Thanks, Worship.
Councillor Perron?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to echo Councillor Duffy's comments. You know, they're a young couple starting out. I went and I viewed the area. It's brush, and they're just looking for a parcel of land to get into their family's land, I think. I think, you know, these young people have shown previously that they can develop, and I think it would be a great improvement to what is there. They're not looking for the whole cul-de-sac. They just want a little area to drive in. A young couple starting out, you know, I think, you know, the council should consider that. I understand the residents there, but I mean, you know, one side of the whole street or around that cul-de-sac is all empty. So we're making a trade for land. We're going to improve the park in there. I think it'd be a great improvement for the area. So I'll certainly be supporting the young couple trying to build their family home. Thank you.
Councillor Bernard, and Councillor Bernard, just before you go, Mr. Forbes, is there a plan to add more green space onto the west side of the existing green space? That evergreen development?
So you're talking about a future development?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be more Mr. Quinn, but, you know, usually when we are subdividing land near an existing park, but that they will add some land, but I don't know the circumstances.
Okay.
Maybe that park is large enough, so I can't really answer that question.
Sorry, Councillor Bernard, do you want to go there, sir?
Yeah, sure. I, like Councillor Duffy, some other councillors were a little bit surprised. And I don't know if you can find another cul-de-sac in Charlottetown that doesn't have houses all around. This gentleman that's looking to build there, I believe he stated he grew up there. The property is coming out the back of his parents' property. I agree with Councillor John. I think it would be great for the neighborhood. Got a young couple coming in. We have a large park there. I think a few people said it wasn't in great shape, so it's our responsibility to bring that park up to standard. That may be a gazebo and so on in there, where these neighbors can meet, have their conversations and so on, as opposed to a couple of feet of frontage we call park. So I also will be, I see planning had recommended approval anyway, but I will be agreeing with this resolution.
And as Chair of New Parks and Recreation, I'm sure that you'll look at that as a...
We will.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Kevin Rainey, Ward 5.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will be supporting this too because a lot of things that we listen to for every neighborhood is traffic and traffic under new bills and all that traffic. But these at the most would be 2 extra cars going down there. If they show a couple both have their own vehicles and things along that line, and they want to build right next to their parents. And I can't see an issue with it at all, so I will be supporting that.
Thank you, Councillor Rainey. Thank you very much. Okay, questions called. All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
Nay.
Okay, all those against? 8-2, and the 2 opposed, Councillor Twill and Deputy Mayor.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cave. That
Which
request,
one are we on?
This, you're out.
number 8.
I'm out.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, thank you, you're in conflict. So just put that in conflict, Councillor Jacob, in conflict of interest, verified by the lawyers.
Where's she going now?
Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cave, that the request to accept the traffic study prepared by Crandall Engineering dated November 5th, 2019 for the development on the corner of May Point Road and Capitol Drive, PID 387-365, to permit the Tim Hortons drive-through restaurant, stacking and queuing spaces, as proposed in the Crandall traffic study, as shown as revised attachment A-1, as well as cross-hatching provisions across the entrance to this property on May Point Road be rejected.
Councillor Rivera, do you want to speak to it?
How long do I have?
5 minutes.
For my first question? And 5 minutes for my second, right?
Okay.
It's recommended to reject, right?
What's that?
It's recommended to reject,
Oh, planning staff are recommending 4.
not according to this resolution.
No, it says reject at the bottom.
No.
Planning board is recommending against.
Is
Planning
that,
staff is recommending 4.
Mr. Forbes, is planning staff recommending approval or rejection?
They recommended to planning board to approve it, planning board recommended to council to reject it.
Okay. Claire?
Okay, so I don't know where to start, but I just kind of.
You have 5 minutes.
I'm curious to know if council has had an opportunity to be out there and view this property. And so everyone's familiar with this area.
Yes.
The good news is you're one step further than the actual engineers who did the study, because they didn't go to the site to check out the site. Anyways, so again, so let's start with queuing. So the queuing that we're talking about is not the queuing on site. I have no concern with the queuing on site to the Tim Hortons drive-thru. The queuing that we're referring to is the queuing on May Point Road that are trying to exit onto the May Point roundabout. This is the concern. So we've established, it's in the report, that there's queuing up to 19, 20, whatever cars up May Point, waiting to get on May Point Road. If someone comes in from Cornwall or off Upton to access the drive-through on May Point Road, they're gonna have to stop, click on their left signal, and hope that someone lets them through. And I'll tell you what, they better let someone in quickly, because the amount of traffic that comes up Cornwall and up Upton on the May Point is intense. And I'll tell you what, it takes 5 to 6 cars before you got queuing into the May Point roundabout, which the province has said absolutely not. If that happens, we'll shut them down. So there was all this talk about you know, the initial plan, and there was plan B, and there was plan C. If this didn't work, you know, we'd move on. The province has come back and said they looked at plan B and plan C as a safety net, and they said no, not gonna happen. So now we're left with a proposal that I've had issues with right from the start. Right from the start of having to do a peer review on the initial study, which there was false information on. So here we are now looking at, let's talk about cross-hatching. We have one other site in Charlottetown that has cross-hatching, and it's in front of the police station. So this magical paint will stop cars somehow, I don't know how, but it will stop cars from going into this magical box that we're referring to. In the wintertime, let's say, as an example, it gets covered with snow. Somehow, again, this paint is supposed to somehow come through the snow, and people are supposed to be aware. I've observed the cross-hatching over on Kirkwood. It doesn't work. Period. It doesn't work. Paint's not going to solve the problem. So, right lane is the solution, right lane, merge lane. Though, for those of you who looked at the traffic study, you will see that a large majority of traffic, a high percentage, over 90% of vehicles that come off Main Point are either going to Upton or they're going to Cornwall. They're not going back into town. They're not going to use that right access back into town. The percentage is less than 10% of the total vehicle traffic. So if less than 10% of the queuing is 1 in 10 cars is actually utilizing the right-hand turn, how is that a solution? That is not a solution because no one's utilizing that right lane. And if you are wanting to go to town, chances are you're probably at North River and staying in North River. Keep in mind that all this traffic study is done and all these numbers provided with no drive-through there. It's only going to intensify, and then there's future plans of putting a restaurant there. This is a really problematic area. I'll keep going here for a second.
You've got 1 minute.
What's that?
You have a minute.
Okay, before I can do my next 5 minutes, because someone can answer me. So, the other one is crosswalks. So, the province owns drive-through, or sorry, the roundabout towards North River, and they own the Upton Road, the first part of it, okay? There's no crosswalks across 4 lanes of traffic on either side. And I asked the question why, and because I'm told the Traffic Act doesn't allow for it. But yet the city has provided 2 crosswalks across 4 lanes of traffic. Now the solution is to add a 5th lane, being a merge lane, also known as an accelerator lane, coming through, and you're going to have someone trying to cross through that. When people are looking to get into the other lane, they're not going to be looking for the crosswalk. Secondly, you now have a right in off Capitol Drive to go to the hotel, so you're going to have traffic crisscrossing. This plan, I can go on and on, it's not thorough enough, it's not the right solution. And again, it's recommended by planning staff to approve. I guess my question to Mr. Forbes is there any planning staff that is a traffic engineer?
Can we just hold those questions? Because I'll tell you what, we're at 5:16. Come back, you'll get a second chance. Councilor McCabe.
So because planning staff recommended approval and planning board didn't, I'm going to speak to the fact that I also agree cross-hatching and lights I don't think will be a reasonable solution for this particular project. Also important is the traffic engineer indicating that although they solved the problem with people exiting right, the issue with people exiting left did not quite have a solution. And my other concern is that the province won't sign off on the other 2 suggestions the developer had. So if they don't pan out, it seems the city could be liable for having to cough up financial contribution to fix a problem that we can probably avoid. So I'm not going to support this application as it stands, and I do hope that we can come up with a safe solution.
We'll come right back.
Sure.
Just Councilor Bernard, Deputy, any words of wisdom? Councilor McLeod? Councilor Drawn?
Not going to support it just because of the cross-hatching issue.
You're going with the rejection? Yeah.
I
Councilor
was just
Duffy?
saying, if it sounds so easy, Councilor Ward, how come it took you 4 years to get rid of it? Well, the road since 2016.
16.
Well, I can speak to some of that.
Oh, no, don't bother.
Right, it's been going since 2016. Okay, you're back.
Thank you.
3 minutes? 3 minutes.
But going back to 2016,
Yeah.
you're right. But again, we had to approve here to have a peer-to-peer study done because the traffic report that was originally used data information from a holiday. So we were forced to spend money to have a peer-to-peer review done to prove that the initial traffic review wasn't accurate. That's what took so long. So anyways, thank you, Councilor McCabe. You did cover one of my points. But again, the thing is that, we have a professional planner, and I listen, I appreciate our staff, Alex and all staff, because I used to be chair of planning, and I know the hard work that they do. But again, they're professional planners. They're not professional engineers. So for them to make a recommendation to approve, it's not based on planning principles. It's based on an engineer report that uses mathematical equations to come up, not human behavior, and they're not on site. They haven't seen it. They admit that there's queuing. According to their report, as of now, they're okay with 2 to 3 minutes queuing on the roundabout, but that's not acceptable. It's the pieces coming in, and cross-hatching is not the solution. Paint is not going to stop people from queuing there, allowing traffic from Cornwall to Tim Hortons. I'm not saying that that Tim Hortons shouldn't be there. And I'm not saying that I'm against Tim Hortons. I'm not against the queuing inside of the area. The solution they're proposing is not.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And the crosshatch, what's the term you referred to?
Crosshatching.
Yeah, so it does exist out in front of the Charlottetown Police Department on Kirkwood Drive. That's an example. Councillor Duffy.
Question, Councillor Burr, did you say engineers shouldn't be doing the traffic study?
No. I asked if our planners are traffic engineers.
Oh, I see.
But they're relying engineers.
They're the ones making a recommendation to approve.
Yeah, no, I thought I heard you say
No,
engineers should be doing the traffic
No, no.
study. And I was going to say, historically, that's who has
No,
done this traffic.
I'm saying
Okay.
that planning staffs make recommendations, but they aren't traffic engineers, so it's pretty hard to make
I
recommendations.
don't need any more.
But planning staff is getting the expertise advice from traffic engineers, correct there, Mr. Forbes?
Yeah, it's with, we're relying on the traffic report that was prepared by the applicant, and Mr. Adams has also been involved in this application as well.
From Public Works.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Question?
So what are we voting on?
We're voting on the rejection, right? The resolution.
Okay,
Reject.
questions called?
Questions called. All those in favor of rejecting the proposal, please raise your hands. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
Just a question I have.
No.
If
Go ahead. Questions
we go for
called.
the rejection, can the applicant still come back
Yeah, a year.
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year.
1 year?
Yep. Yea or nay?
It's 4 years to get here.
Yeah. Are you for the rejection or against it?
So he has to wait a year to come back?
Yes, that's what it is.
Can he not work with the planning department and come up with a solution?
No. Mr. Forbes is right here agreeing with me. I know you can't see him on live stream, but I'm looking.
No.
Okay. No?
No.
Okay. So, again, Councillor Duffy, you're against?
Because the original, the planning department's position was to approve it, I am the chair of planning. I don't vote for the rejection, no.
No. And I understand that, sir. So opposed, Councillors Duffy and Twill. Okay, do we move on to the next one? Do you want to get Councillor?
A2?
What's that?
A2?
No, 7-2. 7-2 because
Oh, yes.
Councillor Yankoff is in conflict.
Come on in, man, the water's good. You're all legit complaining about it.
Thank you.
Your worship, moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cave, that the request to amend Appendix A of the official plan from downtown neighborhood to downtown mixed-use neighborhood, and amend Appendix G of the zoning and development bylaw from the downtown neighborhood zone to the downtown mixed-use neighborhood zone in order to operate a professional office, i.e. accountants, on the first 2 floors within the remaining 3rd floor to be used for residential unit at 168 Weymouth Street, PID 345108, be rejected.
So, Councillor Yankoff, can I let the chair go first? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that this is a carryover from last week. It was deferred. It was deferred with for the purpose of maybe something could be found to accommodate these young accountants and still satisfy the needs and wants of the neighborhood. But a month has passed, no progress has been brought forward, so I guess it's time to reject it.
And what's being proposed from planning, the planning department, is to reject it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you. Obviously, I will be supporting the resolution, which I planned to last month for deferral. No new information has come along. The residents have really, spoken clearly that, they want to preserve their neighborhood. I did go and have a tour of the building that the accounting firm was planning to buy. It is a beautiful residential home. And I thank the residents for their patience as we went through this process. And just to reiterate, I will absolutely be supporting the residents of Weymouth Street tonight to reject the rezoning of the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Yankoff, Ward 1. Anyone else?
Questions called?
Questions called? All those in favor of the rejection? Put up your hand, please. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor of the rejection.
Okay, those against? Councillor Toronto. Okay, sir.
Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cave. Resolved to amend Appendix B of the Zoning and Development Bylaw, Comprehensive Development Area CDA parcels and permitted uses for the properties located at Mount Edward Road, PID 390534, 390559, and 390542. Number 2, amend Appendix A of the official plan map from low density residential to concept planning area for the property at Mount Edward Road, PID 390542, and a portion of PID 390559. And 3, amend Appendix G of the Zoning and Development Bylaw from low density residential R2S to comprehensive development area CDA for the property at Mount Edward Road, PID 390542, and a portion of PID 390559 in order to facilitate a mixed-use development be approved, subject to conditions as attached.
So, Councillor Duffy, was this the one that was deferred? We took it off the agenda last week's special meeting because we ran out of time?
This is the
You didn't finish reading it? Oh, you didn't, oh, I thought, keep going, and sorry there, sir. All right, keep reading.
Conditions: 1, that the city traffic master plan confirm that the development does not conflict with the proposed site plan. 2, signing of development agreement. 3, signing of a road and service agreement for the portion of a public road to connect this development to Spencer Drive. 4, that the future road as shown on the comprehensive development plan be deeded to the city at no cost prior to the issuance of any building and development permits. And 5, subject to the revised site plan submitted by the applicant dated September 10th, 2020, attached in B, Your Worship.
Okay, that's the full resolution, sir.
Yes, Your Worship.
Councillor Duffy, do you want to speak to it?
Just briefly, Your Worship, I'm being the newbie on the block as chair of planning. I'm led to believe all the last 4 digits or 4 bullets have been met, and they were standby, just waiting for this master plan to be presented, which was presented here, 2 weeks ago to council. Excuse me. It's been indicated.
It wasn't presented because we took it off the agenda.
Pardon?
I thought we took this off the agenda.
No.
We were? Okay. I
Okay.
apologize. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, all we were waiting for was the city's traffic master plan. We have it. It's been reviewed by council. We've been spoken to about it. It doesn't cause any problems, apparently, to the pros on this development out on the Towers Road. So I guess I've been told it's a go.
Councillor
Your
Yankoff? Just 1 second, Councillor Twill, you're next.
Okay.
Councillor Yankoff?
Thank you, and thank you for that, Councillor Duffy. We did get a great first kick at the can on the city's traffic master plan, and I'm quite excited for the next step of that, which will be some revisions, taking it out to the public for some public input, because I believe that will be the next process that happens. And so, yes, the traffic plan, the planning staff, as well as I believe Public Works, confirmed that this master plan, it will not be in any conflict, or that the development at Sherwood Crossing will not be in any conflict with the traffic master plan. Although I do caution us that we be very mindful of as we grow with our new traffic master plan, that we're mindful of active transportation and green space and sidewalks, so we can get it right going forward. And I will be supporting this development, but I will be watching closely as we continue with development that we ensure that we get it right with our master plan.
Thank you, Councillor Yankoff. Councillor Twill?
Thank you. Over the last 6 weeks, I have made repeated requests to have this application, along with the traffic master plan and the other traffic study, go back to a public meeting so that the residents would have an opportunity to view all of the information. When we had the public meeting a number of weeks ago, there were no traffic studies available to the public, so that the public would have the opportunity to hear the presentation from the traffic consultants, the personnel with the credentials and the qualifications. Secondly, if you look at the conditions that Mr. Kelly just read out, the signing of a developer's agreement, signing of roads and service agreements for the portion of the public road to connect to the development Spencer Drive, that the future road is shown on the comprehensive development plan be deeded to the city at no cost prior to the issuance of any building and development permits. Well, that's a cost to the taxpayers, and if you take into consideration the subdivisions and the requirements of subdivisions, the onus and responsibility is on the developer to provide the infrastructure above ground and below ground, and that's not happening in this particular case, and I'm not sure why there's deviation from the subdivision requirements, but nonetheless, I think in all fairness to the residents that have consistently showed up to meetings and sent emails, and we're getting the emails on a daily basis from concerned citizens about this particular development, and rightly so. And so, with that in mind, Mr. Mayor, I will move a deferral that all this information goes back to a public meeting so that the complete information can be presented to the entire community so that the entire community can become much more informed as to what this development consists of, what the agreement will consist of, and they get to ask the pertinent questions. So nonetheless, I'm moving a deferral.
Okay. So, Councillor Twill, just before we do that, Mr. Forbes or Mr. Hooley, we did have a public meeting on this issue.
Your Worship, point of order, Your Worship.
I'm just asking them for their...
Point of order, Your Worship.
What is it?
You're speaking from the chair.
Yeah. I'm asking for information from our the planner, the manager of planning, and our solicitor for their advice.
Yeah, I know, Your Worship, but I just stated that the information was incomplete.
Yeah.
I just gave all the reasons in my preamble.
Okay. Yeah, and your preamble is now, we're just, it's being tested by our professional planner and our lawyer. Mr. Hooley, can you speak to that? Do we have to go to another public meeting?
I'd like to hear from Mr. Forbes first as to
Thank
what
you.
transpired at the first.
Yield to Mr. Forbes.
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Forbes.
Your Worship, unfortunately, there's some confusion with this application because there's a separate application by Mr. Banks to develop the property in question, which he had a traffic study prepared, a private traffic study, which we relied on. But the only concern is at the same time we were doing the city's master plan, and the concern was that we didn't want to give Mr. Banks an approval and then find out when the master plan was complete there would be a portion of his property that would be required to implement the master plan. So there's two different processes going on. The public meeting has already happened for this development. So in my humble opinion, there's no reason for another public meeting on this development as long as council, it's their decision, are comfortable when they saw the presentation on the master plan that it wasn't going to impact his property. When the master plan is ready, we will go out on the master plan and we will have a public meeting on that. But there's two different public meetings as somewhat circulating around this particular project. Thank you, Mr.
So, Councillor Twill, I'm ruling out of order the deferral. Okay, let's keep going with the discussion. Councillor McCabe.
I just have a point of clarification on this. So this is just the property that Tim wants to develop in Sherwood Crossing. This has no indication right now that this is going off into Ash Drive. That's a later discussion, correct?
Correct, but again, just so for your benefit, the roadway that Councillor Twill was just referring to is, if you watch that master plan, is critical to implementing that master plan. The developer isn't developing that street to full standards because the developer doesn't need that street. It's needed to implement this future master plan. So we're asking that the land be conveyed to us to open that up.
And that'll be discussed later, though.
That's
right.
So just a point of
order. Just with Councillor Yankoff's points, and they were great points.
Yeah. Just 1 second, Councillor. You'll get a second opportunity. Any other points? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. The residents of the area do have concerns with the traffic flow around this piece of property. I know there's a couple master plans done, but the future road, we all know for this to work, it's going to have to connect on Ash Drive, which has residents in Sherwood very upset. So for that reason, like I say, with the traffic concerns that have already been raised, the residents haven't seen this master plan, and to make it work, you're gonna have to get out onto Mount Edward Road, which is gonna connect up to Ash Drive, which is a residential subdivision. I'm not gonna be supporting this application.
But,
Sorry,
Your Worship,
Mr.
just
Forrest,
just
go
to
ahead.
clarify to Councillor Cody, this roadway is not a requirement for the development.
No.
I just want that clear. It's a
Yeah.
requirement to implement the master plan.
Down the
which is
road.
That's right, the larger study. So it would be different if Mr. Banks needed this street himself. He's got two streets, he'll have a third street around them. He doesn't need frontage on a street. That roadway is to implement the next step for everything north of this property. Thank you. Your
So, point of order,
Well, just one second. How many times this point of order? Okay, what's your point of order?
did you rule my
Yes, the
deferral
deferral.
I put on the table?
Yeah.
Did you rule that out of order?
Yeah, it's off the table. We're on the.
Okay, just a minute. I want a legal opinion
Original
on that.
resolution. We're back to the original resolution to approve or not approve.
No, I want a legal opinion on my deferral.
No, we just, the deferral is up to, the chair made the call on it. We're moving forward. Anyways,
No,
Council-
hold it.
It's,
Chair doesn't make the call, council makes the call.
no,
So
presiding
I want a
officer,
legal opinion on my deferral.
the deferral has been ruled out of order. Plain and simple. We're back on the main
Who rules
resolution.
it out of order?
It's out of order, so we're back to the resolution. Speak.
You ruled it out of order?
Yes.
You have that power?
Mr. Hooley, could you give him the opinion? He has the power to rule something is out of order.
Yes, that's in the procedural bylaw, and so that's what I'm going by. Okay,
So you
please
can
speak with the
move-
resolution.
Just a question. You can move my deferral out of order?
Yes, yes. Anyways,
Oh, gee.
are you speaking of the resolution?
Yeah, I'm speaking of the resolution.
Good, yea or nay?
Absolutely not.
Okay, let's have the vote, okay? Question call?
Question called.
Okay. All those in favor, please put up your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those against? Councillor Twill against?
Against.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, could you go to the next resolution, or are we there done?
What's the vote?
7-3. Opposed, Councillors Twill, Duran, and Deputy Mayor Cody.
Your Worship, City of Charlottetown Amendment Official Plan PH-OPA.1 to adopt the official plan amendments PH-OPA.1-08 the land uses for a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466, as shown on Appendix A, future land use map of the City of Charlottetown official plan, is designated as a low-density residential and recreational, hereby excluding it from its former designation of commercial. The land use for a portion of the properties along Petrie Lane, PID 676213 and 1117167, as shown on Appendix A. Future land use map of the City of Charlottetown official plan is designated as low-density residential, hereby excluding it from its former designations of recreational and commercial respectively. Be resolved that the official plan amendment PH-OPA.1-018 as it pertains to a portion of the properties at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466, and Petrie Lane, PID 676213 and 1117167 as attached, be adopted. Moved by Councilor Duffy, seconded by Councilor McKay.
Okay. Shall it carry?
Pass.
Any contrary? Deputy Mayor Cody, anyone else? Councillor Twill, you against it?
Yep.
8-2. Go against it.
Zoning and Development Bylaw PH-Z2.2 to adopt Bylaw PH-ZD.2041, a bylaw to amend the zoning and development bylaw to rezone a portion of the property at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466 from highway commercial C2 to single detached residential large R1L in open space. zone and rezone a portion of the properties along Patriot Lane, PID 676213 and 1117167 from open space to single detached residential large R1L. Be moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor McCabe, and be resolved that the bylaw to amend the the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw, PH-ZD.2041, as pertains to a portion of the properties at 505 Malpeck Road, PID 145466, and Patriot Lane, PID 676213 and 1117167, as attached, be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council.
Okay, shall I carry? Carry. Those against? Councillor Creel, yea or nay?
Nay.
Nay? Yep, okay, 8-2. Opposed, Councillor Twill and Deputy Code. Is there another one?
Yes, Your Worship. City of Charlottetown, amendment of the official plan, PH-OPA.1, to adopt the official plan, amendment PH-OPA.1013, the land use for the properties at Mount Edward Road, PID 390559 and 390542, as shown on the Appendix A, future land use map of the City of Charlottetown, or official plan, is designated as a concept planning area, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low-density residential. Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Bay, be resolved that the official plan amendment, PH-OPA.1-013, as it pertains to Mount Edward Road, PID 390559 and PID 390542, as attached, be adopted.
Shall I carry?
Pass.
Opposed? Councillor Drawn? Councillor Twill?
No.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Deputy?
Okay, isn't this the property that we deferred?
No, we didn't defer. I took it off the table. I took the deferral and said we're taking it off the table, so.
No, it's just,
This is,
oh, I'm sorry, I'm going,
Dobby Craig document.
sorry.
You're a different
Page opposed.
Opposed? 7-3. Okay.
Zoning and Development Bylaw, PH-ZD.2, to adopt bylaw PH-ZD.2034, a bylaw to amend the zoning and development bylaw, to amend the development concept plan and development agreement for the properties at Mount Edward Road, PID 390534, 390559, and 390542, and to rezone the properties at Mount Edward Road, PID 390542, and a portion of PID 390559 from low-density residential R2S to comprehensive development area, CDA zone. Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor McCabe. Be resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw, PH-ZD.2034, as pertains to Mount Edward Road, PID 390534, 390559, and 390542, as attached, be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council.
Shall pass.
Pass.
Opposed? Councillor Twill, opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, 7-3. Councillor Duran and Twill opposed, and the Deputy Mayor opposed. Okay, nothing there, sir?
That's it.
That's it? Okay, so, 2 hours and 15 minutes, so,
45 minutes to finish.
yeah, no, then we have to go on to, want those up? I'll get them, let's go to that one. So, is it- yes, good, Public Works, so we're going with Councillor McLeod and there's Mr. Adams. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much.
Same with all the other people in the Parkdale one.
Public Works and Urban Beautification Committee met on October 28th. The draft minutes are included in the package. The Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities met on the 13th of October. The draft minutes are there as well. I have 3 resolutions for consideration, and I'll answer any questions that somebody has.
Any questions? Councillor Yankoff. Is it about Ward 1?
No.
There's a lot of work going on. There's a lot of work going on down there.
I wanted to give give a big kudos to the Public Works Department and the Environment and Sustainability for the first urban tree on Queen Street. And just a big shout out, and luckily enough, it's right downtown in front of the Guild. I don't know if you've ever heard of that place, but
It's down today.
It's amazing. You should check it out, and so kudos.
Very good,
So, thank you.
Thank you, and we'll certainly pass that on to both committees.
Yes.
And also for stairs for their contribution.
Okay. Councilor Bernard.
She just reminded me of something. Is that the tree that you're doing the
Yeah, water system.
What is the cost of that?
I'll pass that on to Scott.
Scott, that's a good one.
I'm trying to remember.
I think they're trying, go ahead, Mr.
Your worship, so for this, there was, the only cost that the city expended was some labor staff costs for this one. But for an install of that size, it's approximately, if I remember correctly, around $10,000.
For one tree?
For the cell, yes. They are not, they are fairly expensive, but they do help us, allow us to continue to maintain parking, which is what the goal is, was not eliminating parking, but still allow us to have a large stature tree in a downtown area. So that's what it does. So that's how it really works really well. You see it a lot in Europe right now, they use a lot more. They have asphalt almost paved right up to it because they tie into the stormwater system, that's how it gets all its water. So there's a lot of benefits to it to be able to have large stature trees in the downtown core.
So this is a trial, it's not really costing us anything but
Correct.
labor. And I assume that's the company wants to show us how this works.
We'll know next year how it's working, how the tree's surviving, and all that sort of stuff.
It's a great experiment, a great experiment. Councilor McLeod?
Thank you very much. Just as part of the Public Works and Beautification Program over the years, we've been fighting to try and save the trees on Queen Street. Well, this would be one way that they'll survive, right? So much paving and asphalt around these trees, the water runoff goes long ways from where the roots are. So this will enable the trees to survive much better and hold up through the times.
Yeah, I've just seen other cities, Councillor, which have the grates somewhere around them, they have a crew that goes around the water through during the hot times. And I see from the picture in the media that it was quite a large excavation. So that's why I was curious. Buy a lot of trees for $10,000.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. We'll go try it. Okay, Councilor, you want to go with your resolution?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sorry, they're in conflict there?
Yeah.
We'll call you back. Don't go too far. Councilor Twill, question?
I have a question for the Chair of Public Works. Chair McLeod, there's a lot of concern raised due to the announcement that the Public Works Department will no longer be issuing the alert system notifying neighbors in the affected neighborhoods when Public Works is in doing snow cleaning and plowing the snow back. And I talked to a lot of people that are working shift work, and they thought the program was working quite effectively. And I can tell you, there's a lot of disappointment across this city.
Yeah,
that
Councilor
Public
Twill.
Works has now eliminated the alert
It's in
system.
your package. It's the second resolution. Third.
We'll talk on
We're going to talk about when it comes to third resolution. You're preempting his firepower here. Go ahead, Dave.
I will speak to that, Councilor Twill, when the resolution comes up, and you can also give comments at that time.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Resolution one there, Mr.
Yes, Your Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Duffy, that as per the request for quotation on snow clearing on municipal properties, the following low submissions in regard to municipal properties be accepted, subject to the receipt of required insurance certificates. Sherwood Civic Building, Landmark Group, $3,600. West Royalty Civic Building, Dixon Snow Removal, $2,551.25. East Royalty Civic Building, A&M Snow Removal, $3,000. Hillsborough Park Civic Building, Landmark Group, $1,850. J.E. Blanchard Building, Lee McDonald Construction, $1,600. And Kirkwood Police Station, Dickinson Snow Removal, $4,373.50.
Okay. Question?
Questions called?
Question called. Okay. All those in favor, put up your hand. Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Go ahead,
Your Worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Duffy, that as per the conditions of request for quotes for Nash Lane, Allen Creek Drive connection, the submission of landmark 9421491 Canada Inc. in the amount of $67,621 plus applicable taxes be accepted.
Questions called?
Questions called? Okay. All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
So here's the next one you can speak to there, Councillor. Yeah, get Bob back in.
Your worship, moved by Councillor McLeod, seconded by Councillor Duffy. Resolved that the city of Charlottetown adopts the proposed changes to discontinue the use of the snow alert as proposed by the Public Works and Urban Beautification Committee, your worship.
Okay, do you want to speak? Do you want to speak to it? Can I get him to speak to it first, Councillor, because he is the chair, and then you're next because you are the vice chair.
So, thank you very much, Your Worship. Yeah, so this resolution that's in front of us is not supported by me, the chair. I think we were a little harsh in making this decision. So I am going to ask to defer this, and the reason I would, and some of us think we should just vote and let it go, but I do like to hear what staff, staff has made a concern, but at the same time, we're in the customer service business, and the residents are our customers, and I think we need to listen, as Councillor Twill has just spoke to, and since that decision to bring it here, I have gotten some calls, and some of the residents have some very, very good concerns, and I think it's something that we should send back and let the HR department and the public works do another analyze procedure on just maybe what could work, if anything.
I'll second it.
You second the deferral? So we have deferral on the floor, so we'll vote on that first. Do you want to speak to it, Councillor Yankov, and then Councillor Bernard is next? Councillor, you have the floor.
Well, deferral is certainly not what I came tonight to hope for, but if it's to get more information, I can assure you that I've heard loud and strong from the residents of Ward 1, and there's not a single resident who is happy with this, and it's most affected by the residents in Ward 1. So if a deferral's on the table, and that's our only option, I will support it, but in the long run, I will not be supporting any type of stop of this snow alert. So that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bernard?
Yep, thank you, Your Worship. I'm not sure I'd be looking for a deferral. I think I would just kill this. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had this snow now for 3, if not 4 years. It's had a few hiccups, but we've been ironing them out. I think it's a service, as the chair said, it's a service that we offer to the public. I'm not sure why we would discontinue that service when it seems to be working well, and we've been working out the kinks. And I've certainly, in the last year, haven't really heard any complaints. For the most part, the bylaw's still there's no parking on city streets. I think the snow alert has been just to allow people to know what section of the city that they're plowing. And it's been very good because, I mean, for somebody to try and look for a place to park and they're not even going to be plowing that section of the city, and the snow alert lets them know that. So personally, I don't think you need to defer it. I just think that you continue on with the service that we've had for the last 3 or 4 years. So I would be going against the deferral, and I'll be going against this resolution.
What? Yeah, no. Any other questions with deferral? Councillor Twill?
Well, as I stated earlier, I can tell you there was a lot of disappointment throughout this city when Public Works made the announcement that they wanted to discontinue this very effective program. People come to rely on being notified by the city of Charlottetown, particularly when their vehicles are being towed or they're getting an overnight parking ticket. I mean, I thought the system, was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but nonetheless, it seemed to be working. So, I would agree with Councilor Bernard. I say that, the deferral, to my mind, I just say we reject it outright and we continue on with the service.
Okay. Question called for the deferral? Question? Okay, all those in favor of the deferral, please raise your hand.
I just got it before.
1, 2, all 3. Yes?
No.
Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Councillor Twill, are you for the deferral or against it?
I'm against the deferral because I want to continue on with the service immediately.
Let's go back to the resolution.
Okay.
So the resolution's on the floor. You read the resolution. Questions called for the resolution to discontinue the snow removal. All those for, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Councillor Twill, for or against?
Against.
Okay, 10-0. That's easy.
So then, Your Worship, you need a resolution on the floor to continue with the service?
That's a good point. Mr. Adams, do you need a resolution or you just continue on?
We continue on as we have in the past. Yep.
Yeah,
Right now.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you there, Councillor McLeod, for your first report. That's great. Okay, next report. I don't want to make any more. Economic development, is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Economic Development, Tourism and Event Management Committee did not meet since the last meeting of council. The Charlottetown Arts Advisory Board met on October 27th. The open draft minutes are included in your package. Things continue to be busy in the Tourism and Event Management Department, with staff operating under a team approach and also assisting with activities from the Economic Development portfolio. A few of the highlights from their operations include the Charlottetown Islanders have returned to play under their new normal, and the CPHO is pleased with how things have been operating. The the Canadian Capital Cities Organization has commenced a strategic planning process, which the city is part of. A draft strategic plan is expected to be released for endorsement as part of their AGM later this month. Sport Tourism Canada recently released its Bouncing Back report. The document and associated tools will serve as valuable resources as Charlottetown continues to advance our award-winning sports tourism file. Some kudos to Wade and Laurel, who were both selected by Sport Tourism Canada to serve on the national 24-member recovery task force. Pretty impressive. Over to Over the past several months, staff have been conducting attraction business virtually and have been working diligently on a number of sport event bids. Sport Tourism Canada's annual sport event exchange will be held virtually later this week. Our Sport Tourism Initiative SCORE is the presenting partner of this event, which will give us elevated presence as a part of this valuable platform. As Council is aware, the Christmas program is an important part of our annual offerings, and this year brings many challenges due to COVID-19 restrictions. I commend our staff for their creativity and commitment to ensuring that Christmas programming will continue to be offered during this challenging time. I'm very pleased to report that the staff will work closely with the CPHO to offer the Charlottetown Christmas Parade, Santa Claus Comes to Town, the Wintertide Holiday Festival Christmas Concert in support of the Salvation Army Christmas Carol, Holiday Home Decorating Contest, and Christmas Tree Lane in partnership with the Children's Wish Foundation. The city will also light the Wintertide tree with no ceremony this year, and they will partner with Discover Charlottetown on the Charlottetown Christmas Festival, and the Victorian Christmas Market. Finally, I encourage everyone, if you haven't already had a chance, to check out the Victoria Cross street banners, which are currently displayed in the downtown core, and they will remain up during the Remembrance Day period. The city, through partnership with the Government of Canada and the Gregg Society for the Study of War and Society, was able to secure these banners a few years ago as part of a National Capital City initiative. This concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Chair, okay. Any questions for the Chair of Economic Development, Tourism, or the great staff here that been honored again? No? Okay, so, sir, we can move on. Thank you, Wayne and Laurel, for your patience. Okay, I think it's environment and sustainability, right, sir? And it's Councillor Twill, new chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a report here, a synopsis, thanks to Ramona Doyle. I hope I get it right, Ramona. But it begins with monthly transit ridership for October 2020 was 37,388 compared to October 2019, when ridership was 74,240. Transit is currently maintaining about 50% of its normal ridership monthly ridership from high school participants in the student transit project was 142. The City of Charlottetown has submitted an expression of interest to the Municipal Natural Assets Initiative to receive funding to develop an inventory for all of the city's natural assets. This project would support the city in understanding the condition of natural assets and support better management of the city's natural assets. The Charlottetown Food Council will be hosting several community conservations in the city's food system in November and December. Workshops will be held online. Pre-registration is required. For more information and to register, please visit the City of Charlottetown's website. The city has received funding from the Climate Sense Internship Program to host 2 climate-focused interns starting in January 2021. The first intern will focus on supporting the integration of climate change considerations in urban planning and policy, and the second will focus on building infrastructure resiliency to the impacts of climate change. Thank you, Ramon, for the synopsis. That is our report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Twill, I just have a question here from Councillor McLeod, former Chair of Environment Sustainability.
Thank you very much, Councillor Twill. Just had a meeting this week, and actually a meeting tomorrow with the Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities, and there was some confusion at our accessibility meeting. Moving forward, we're trying to find out the number of transit buses that would have wheelchair accessible ramps. An update on how many there is. I know the newer buses coming have those, but I just want to know so that I can report back to those folks, because there was a little cloudy at the meeting as to how many there were and how many were working. And I'd like to be able to give a little more detailed report, and between yourself and Ramona, you could perhaps get me that information. Thank you.
No, that's a good question. I know that all of our buses are accessible. Now to accommodate wheelchair, I'm not sure. Ramona, do you have that accurate information?
We're going to ask that. Do you have any more information to add to it, Councillor Twill?
No, not at this time.
Ramona, he's just asking for your advice.
Your Worship, so all of our buses are currently equipped with one of the wheelchair ramps. We do sometimes have issues with their function as the buses sort of age, but as Councillor McLeod mentioned, the new buses will also all have those ramps as well. There are a couple mini buses in the system that do have steps, and our new mini buses are all low floor with the ramps as well, so we'll be looking for those arriving shortly.
Could I ask one more?
Yes, you can ask another question.
Councillor Twill, if you don't mind, if I can ask the Chair, Ramona, a question.
No, please do.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to ask a question to
Just
Ramona.
So there seem to be a lot, these are the users, right? So they're telling me that there's a lot of them that are broke down. Is that something that can be reported on a regular basis, maybe, just to keep them sharp, Team 3 sharp, to make sure that they do get these things fixed and keep them on being able to be used, because they say a lot of times they don't work. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the taxi committee you're talking about. Okay. Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Maybe I can shine a little bit of light on these transits since I used to work there. We had them all installed years ago. They come down automatically, and if the automatic button doesn't work, the driver just gets out into straps and they can pull them down. So they all work, they all have them in it. As Ramona said, maybe some of the smaller buses, your 14-seaters, they do not have them, some do them. But at the same time, like there's 2 ways of operating it. And then when, let's say a person gets on with a wheelchair, they fold the seats up and they hook them right onto them. So it's all there.
Appreciate that, thank you very much, because I'll definitely take that back, and gives me some information and feedback.
There's 2 ways of doing it.
Yeah.
One's an automatic button, and if that gets seats up, it's all, man.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Councilor McLeod?
Yes, sir.
Can I make a recommendation, maybe can be done through Ramona, that a senior representative from Transit, from the contractor, be invited to the Persons with Disabilities Committee meeting, so that they can have a meeting with the representative and be able to ask those questions and whatever recommendations or suggestions they might have. I think it would be a good exercise for both the contractors and the committee.
We'll we'll take that under advisement for sure. It's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay.
And just before we go, Ramona, a few weeks ago, Katrina Crystal, is Katrina Crystal and Aman Ahmed, I had the opportunity to go out on October 24th, and we dropped off 30 packages for the participants in the Better Homes Neighborhood Energy Project. And everywhere where we dropped off the package in the Sherwood area, they were very impressed by the depth of the program and what they're looking at down the road for saving money. So will that continue next year? Is that the rationale or plan going forward?
So your worship, right now, we're working on the reporting phase of that project. So once we get some of the results, did this approach actually lead to more people taking advantage of energy retrofits and lead to an increase in uptake of those programs? We'll be reporting back, and then the intent would be, if it has been successful, that we
And a big thank you to Katrina and Amanda. And just one last item there, Councillor Bernard. Ramona has just officially received her master's in environment and business from the University of Waterloo. So she's a master's program. Thank you. Well done. Okay, let's go to the next report. Strategic, is it? Councillor Ramsey?
Thank you, your worship. We met on Thursday, October 20th. The minutes are in your package. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee did not meet since last meeting. The Youth Engagement Advisory Committee did not meet since last meeting. There are no resolutions for your consideration, and any questions, we'll certainly try to answer.
Okay. Councillor Yankoff and then Councillor McCabe. Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you. And thank you for your report. Just wondering if there's any updates, Councillor Ramsey, on the date for the strategic planning session.
Mr. Kelly and I will be, thank you for your question. Mr. Kelly and I, we discussed that after our last meeting last week. We will be getting together on that. And we'll be getting right back to you as soon as it happens.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McCabe.
Because I thought that was in December, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll
reschedule.
We'll just pick something.
Can you also add to your next agenda, I understand this falls under your committee, where you could possibly look at setting a secondary monthly meeting for all the special meetings to consolidate some of the times that we're meeting, as Councillor Tweel spoke to last week. I believe that the procedural bylaw falls under your committee, so add that to your agenda. Have a look at how we can
I'll have to
use
check
our
with the
time
mayor,
more
because the mayor likes a
effectively.
lot of meetings.
Well, I know, but the mayor's not the chair of this
Meetings are
committee,
good.
so I'm
Trouble is
asking if you
good.
could
Trouble
do
is
that.
necessary.
I would certainly take that under
Yes.
advisement, and we'll bring it up
Thank you,
at the
Councillor
next
McCabe.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, you want to make a note?
Any other questions for the chair of SPIC? Strategic Priorities Intergovernmental Cooperation? Okay.
Spick, is it? That's an easy way to say it.
Next report. It's finance, isn't it? Okay, finance, Deputy.
Thank you, your worship. Our committee met. There's a report in your package. There's 3 resolutions here tonight for council to consider. And if there's any questions, I'll try my best to answer them.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor Tweel from Ward 4.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Cody, prior to you taking over, there seemed to be a discrepancy or a disparity or variance in the state of the finances for the city of Charlottetown. Former Chair, Councillor Terry Burnett, the finances in the city are in great shape. Yet at the same time, member of the committee, Councillor Mike Duffy, had indicated that we were in a deficit. I think he used the figure $2 million. And please correct me if I'm wrong, Councillor Duffy. So what I'm trying to understand is, are we in a healthy financial situation, or is it the deficit that Councillor Duffy referred to on a number of occasions?
Deputy.
No, there's no deficit, Councillor Tweel. We only had one meeting, but there's somebody else in the room that can thank you,
Councillor
Bernard.
Bernard and then Councillor Duffy.
I think Councillor Tweel, what Councillor Duffy was referring to was the 2.2 million in expected revenue from parking revenues. that wasn't going to materialize from their projections.
And you calculated that as a deficit.
But
So
overall,
does that affect the finances of the city?
Well, revenue does.
I mean,
$2.2 million affect your
we had close to a
finances?
$3 million projected surplus, which is now down to about 1.5 million projected surplus.
Okay.
But we're still in
healthy.
in a good place.
And to add to that, Your Worship, if you recall, we did transfer 1.5 million into the
Extraordinary expenses.
to add to the 1.3, so there is some buffering built into the current.
2.8 million.
Built in.
And we have the audited statements coming in soon from 219, 220. Councillor Duffy?
No, actually, I was just going to say that what Councillor Bernard advised, it was forecast to be 2.2 million shortfall in the parking area. We spend a lot more than $2.2 million.
Okay. Can we go to the resolutions? Are there any more questions?
I just one other one.
Yes, go ahead.
I understand that staff were able to tap into the budget under emergency funding. And what I'd like to understand is what is the format of the procedure when it comes to being able to spend money and under the guise of emergency funding? How does that work? And how often has it been utilized, say, over the last year?
Do you want to defer that to the...
Yes.
Okay, we're going to refer that to the manager of finance, Mr. Lanigan. Mr. Lanigan, can you answer the councillor's question?
Yeah, I think I understand the question correctly, but so we haven't really tapped into that contingency or that extraordinary reserve money that I'm aware of. What would happen if we were, there would be a request come to Finance Committee. Finance Committee would hear that request and then transfer any money from that was required out of that contingency fund.
You got that, Councillor Twill?
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, staff can't unilaterally spend money under the guise of emergency funding, but has to go to the Finance Committee. Is that correct,
Yes.
Manager of Finance?
Yes.
Right, so staff, would have the ability to spend within their own budget. Anything beyond their own budget that was emergency would have to come to the finance head.
Thank you, Mark. That's a great answer. Okay, you can have resolutions.
Moved by Councillor Cody.
You got there, sir?
Yes, moved by Deputy Mayor Cody, second by Councillor Bernard, that the City of Charlottetown accepts a portion of Ann Barber's property, PID 191767, the donation of 15.12 acres of land to be used as green space, and to issue a taxable receipt for $360,000 based upon the appraised value as determined by CBRE Valuation and Advisory Services, and further that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the standard contract agreements to implement this resolution.
Okay. Do you have a comment there, Deputy? Councilor Bernard, you must have...
Yeah, I just want to, Your Worship, publicly acknowledge that John Andrews and Darren Riggs, who worked with Ann Barber to get this donation. This is certainly an excellent piece of property that just, it bows into the Andrews Pond property that John Andrews was able to donate to the city that we now own. This flows right into that, plus there's a section there, and I'll talk about under Parks and Rec, where it completes the walking trail that goes around the pond. That was a small part of this total contribution that Ann Barber made to the city. There was a section there to be able to finish the trail completely around the pond. So again, it was John Andrews and Darren Riggs who did all the legwork with Ann Barber, and I just wanted to recognize them for that. Say thank you. Very nice to the city's help.
I echo that. That's a great donation from the Barber family. Councillor Yankoff.
Yeah, this makes me happy. Anytime we can see that we're going to increase our green space in the city of Charlottetown is a really super good news thing. And I thank everyone who played a part in this, Ann Barber and the two gentlemen, and this is just great.
No, it's good news. Very good news.
Yes.
Any other comments?
Questions called?
Questions called? All those in favor, please put your hand up. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, 10-0, sir.
Your Worship, moved by Deputy Mayor Cody, second by Councillor Bard, whereas the Safe Restart Agreement will provide financial assistance for reopening municipal services and PEI to support critical needs for transit, protection of public health and safety, prepare for potential future waves of COVID-19 virus, and further support the safe reopening of the economies across Canada. And whereas a signed agreement to participate reflects the municipality's understanding on shared objectives and terms established by the Safe Restart Agreement between the Government of Canada and the Province of PEI. And whereas the Safe Restart Agreement requires a formal resolution outlining participation in the program, be resolved that the council authorize the city of Charlottetown to execute the confirmation of municipal services and agreement to participate.
Councillor, any words? I'd like to say something. This is part of the $19.4 billion Safe Restart program, Mark, correct?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. So the feds are providing what, $701,000, correct?
No, that would be through the provincial government, Your Worship.
And they're channeling the money through the provincial government's Department of Finance.
And we're also refining that number also, Your Worship, for future requirements as well.
Yeah, so, and there's a second stage of this program.
Correct.
So I want to thank the federal government. This is not only affecting Charlottetown, Stratford, many communities across the country. So they don't hear thanks from us. Thank you very much.
But it is great to go towards the city's finances. From what not just what this municipality has been through, but for all other municipalities.
Oh.
I mean, to get a, is this 701,000 is coming to the city?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the capital percentage?
It's operational.
No, but it's based on
Per capita.
Yeah, so that's our share. Okay.
And Your Worship, this cannot be used for lost revenues.
No.
It's for
expenses.
Your Worship.
Yeah, we'll find those expenses.
Right, but there's been a lot of expenses that we've been put in since specific.
Yeah. And the second wave too will be after the new year, so we're ready for that too. Okay, question call?
Question called.
Okay. Please put up your hand if you're in favor. Councillor Tweed, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, 10-0 again.
Your Worship, moved by Deputy Mayor Cody, second by Councillor Bard, that the council approve the purchase and sale of 54 Fitzroy PID 343640, lot 19-1, 85 Kent, portion of PID 343533, lot 19-3, and remnant portions of the adjacent right-of-way as identified in the Morris Engineering Survey Drawing 19042.300, dated July 2nd, 2019, being RD1, RD2, RD3, to Rod Investment or subsidiary with the amount of $1,179,000, with the closing date being March 31st, 2021. Further, that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the standard contract agreements required to implement this resolution.
Any points of wisdom there, Deputy? Councillor Bernard.
I will.
Former finance chair, you have some
Yeah,
background
that's
information.
a little bit of background.
Yeah.
So this is the property, so when we bought the new building down on Kent Street, the planning has moved into, we knew we were selling this piece of property. This was $1.2 million that we were selling for. The new building, I believe we paid 1.4, 1.45, so we were paying $120,000 a year rent every year. We have planning the building down the street. Right now, we'll start to see a savings of $60,000 a year right off the bat, maybe higher. But there's about a $250,000 cost difference, and we have the rentals upstairs. So the city, like I said, will be seeing right off the bat $60,000 a year minimum savings.
Surplus. Okay. Councillor Braun.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor Cody. I have a concern with this this resolution here. I think we spent about $3 million to upgrade the parkade, and we're getting around 70 spots. If we sell this land, we're losing about 68 spots. You know, in a time like this, you know, it's been city land forever. We just, like Councillor Bernard alluded to, we bought a new building across the street. We're renting the upstairs, or going to rent the upstairs. You know, I think, you know, in something like that, to entice a person to rent, they could rent some spots off of us in this parking lot. I think it's, you know, I don't know if this went out to a tender in case somebody else wanted to pay more. There's just a lot of questions that I had, and I talked about this a couple of years ago. I don't like selling land in the city because eventually, you know, someone could come up with an idea of say a parking garage that, you know, we could help the residents, but once we sell the land is gone. And I know this came to a vote a little while ago where council, you know, agreed to go into discussions to sell the land, but, you know, I'm just hoping sober second thought we'd keep the land, we could use it to our advantage, maybe to rent it out, get some more income coming in, use it against our rental property that we have the planning department in. I just think that, you know, to just sell it now and be done with it, you know, I'd like to see us hold on to it, so I can't support this at this time. Thank you.
Deputy, do you want to yield to the CAO? Mr. Kelly, you want to
Your
respond?
Worship, when we entered into negotiations on the 70 Kent Street, this was part and parcel of that discussion. Without this going forward, we would not have gotten that building. And so it is a bit of an overall package. And so to be fair, after council's already gave us direction, we went forward and now have concluded that negotiation. It was to close before, but due to COVID and other issues, it didn't close at that time. So it's here for final dealing with council as per council's instructions. But again, it's part and parcel of the deal that we negotiated on both of these transactions.
And for the staff parking that's there now, when it's sold, they'll be able to go to Pownell if it's right, correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor Tweed, Ward 4.
So the parcels of land that we're going to be selling to Rod Investment, what's the market value
This was
of these
appraised,
properties?
this was appraised at $1,179,000, and that's what they're paying for.
They're paying for their appraised value.
That's what it was appraised at.
Correct.
You have all that documentation, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, we do.
It's on file.
And when you said that this was part of the package, I had no idea that at the time we agreed to buy the old law firm on Kent Street, that we were entering into negotiations with Rod Investments to sell that property. I didn't know that was part of the equation.
Again, council gave us instructions, Councilor Duran said a year or two ago to move forward, we did. And in order for us to secure an office in the downtown, they weren't wanting to sell, but as part of this overall transaction, they understand the value for them and the value for us and the package here for council consideration.
Okay.
Okay, but again, I just want to reiterate to Mayor and Council, I had no idea that we were entertaining selling this valuable property to Rod Investments. I had no idea that was on the table.
Well, we're getting a very valuable property that's on the corner of
It
Kent.
was always part, it's what we agreed to.
Kent and Pond. Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Trio. I again too did not know that this was part and parcel. I fully supported buying that building because it was going to be a great investment for the city. Our rent would go down. We'd have the opportunity to rent some of the area. You know, I give kudos to the CAO here for buying that. But at no time was I ever told that this was part and parcel. I had no idea, and I voted freely to buy that parcel of land so we would increase the assets of the city. But at no time did I say, okay, we're gonna buy that, and we're doing a great job, but we're gonna sell this. I think that information was lacking and should have came to council to let us know what we were doing. So I'm disappointed in that, but like I said, at the end of the day, you do what you do, but I can't support selling land. Thank you.
Councillor Minnicott.
Obviously, we would have minutes and documentation from those conversations, so I think that would be probably prudent that Councillor Duran could probably get that information.
And council gave us direction a year or so ago in terms of moving ahead with the sale of this property. That is in the minutes, and so we do have the documentation.
Yeah.
What happened since then is we were able to also secure 70 Kent Street.
Question? Question called?
Questions called?
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, those opposed. Counselor Twill?
Opposed.
Okay. 8-2, so opposed, Counselors Twill and Drummond. Okay, sir, that's it? Thank you very much. Thank you. Human Resources,
Thank you, Your Worship.
Communications and Administration.
The Human Resources, Communications and Administration Committee met on November 3rd. The minutes are included in your package. We do have one resolution for your consideration. And before we do that and take some questions, I would just like to give a really nice special shout out to Jennifer Gavin, who's been our Senior Communications Officer for the last 7 years. And she is, sadly for us, but great for her, she's going on to some great new adventures, and we will miss her, and but we also wish her all the best.
Thank you, Councilor Yankoff.
Speech.
You want to make a speech?
No, I just.
Okay.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor.
Just before, any questions to the HR Chair? Councilor Duffy.
I'd also like to note and acknowledge that Craig Morrison with the Planning Department is moving on to Rational Brothers. He has been with us, I imagine, he was here when I got here, and that was in 2014, so we laid on however long he was here before I was here, so I imagine he's here 6 or 7 years. Anyway, he's been a great asset to the Planning Department. We're down to 2 development officers now, so I guess we're on the search again for a replacement for Mr. Morrison. We wish him well. Thank you. You've been here 3 years?
No, we have 3 staff on.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yeah. Hey, okay. I wish him well, I'm sure we do here, and thank you for his efforts.
Thank you. And the same thing, Craig Morrison. Okay, resolution.
Yes, Your Worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that as per the management and non-union compensation of benefits policy, council approve annual economic increase of 2% for management non-union employees to match the rate negotiated by QP 830, QP 501, wastewater treatment plant for the year 2020, Your Worship.
Okay. Question called? All those in favor? Councilor Twill?
Yes, just a question. I support the resolution.
Yes.
Can you please tell me what the proposed increase is for the Charlottetown Police Department?
No, we don't, that's not part of this resolution. They're
No, I
not being
understand that,
next.
Your Worship. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what the percentile is with respect to the Charlottetown Police Department.
Okay, I'm just going to defer to yield to Mr. Kelly. What is the response, Mr. Kelly?
And Your Worship, we don't negotiate in the open what that may be. So again, when we enter into negotiations, we still have them going on for 501 Public Works. We have UPSI as well, and also the fire and police. So we don't negotiate in the open. We do negotiate behind closed doors. And once complete, bring it forward to council's consideration.
Okay. Yea or nay, Councilor Twill?
Oh, I'm in favor.
Okay, 10-0. Okay, is there another resolution? No. Let's go to the next report. Protective and Emergency Services. Councilor Rivera.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Come on in, gentlemen. I know you've been waiting patiently.
Man, I need to get one of those uniforms. The Protective and Emergency Services Committee met on October 28th. As always, the minutes are included in your package. As you can see through the highlights, both departments have been busy with some great highlights. The one I will focus on just quickly is the Halloween. While it looked very different this year, without Holland College partnering with the police department, the police department still purchased extra goodies, went out to different areas within the city to hand out treats. Really glad to know that no treats were left over for the officers. They were all given to the kids.
And none for you?
And what's amazing is, as I was told today, is that after the officers were done handing out treats to the residents, then those same officers went and set up checkpoints to keep our community safe. So kudos to our department, and that's just one of many highlights. But with time limited, I'll stop there. No resolutions.
No resolutions. Any questions? Okay, Councilor Yankoff. I call him Top Cop.
I don't know if this falls under your committee, and I apologize in advance if it doesn't, but one of the things that came up at the public meeting for Patry Lane, which they quickly pointed out had nothing to do with the proposed development, but time after time they were talking about trucks going in the cul-de-sac off Malpac and turning around. And it was explained to me that it was not permitted for them to be in there. Is that something that police services can monitor and look at, or am I in the wrong department altogether?
So before I answer that, thank you, Councilor Shinnecock. What type of trucks are we talking, like
Big,
18-wheelers?
Yeah, big
Gravel trucks.
gravel trucks. and
Okay,
stuff.
Chief, what do you,
Chief?
On a cul-de-sac, the trucks wouldn't be allowed in there unless they're actually in there doing a service. Chances are, in all likelihood, it's probably a mistake that they've gone in and made the turn and now got to back out. But we can monitor that.
Thank you.
did it have JBI on it, driver training?
Thank you,
Yeah, move to extend.
Okay, I know that, we have more chairs at this meeting.
I know, you've got a.
Do we have any other, Councillor Duran, did you have a question for the chair?
Yes, I do. Thank you for your report, Councillor Willard. I know we put a new initiative in this spring for 4 new officers. COVID came, we had to haul that request back. We agreed to look at it again, and I think it was 3 months, and then now it's ticked away. I think Councillor Bernard mentioned it last month when we were talking about looking at it, where we're at with it. I'm just asking if you could bring it up at this committee or talk to whoever we are at to see if we can get some officers. I know the deputy had explained that we're below the national average for officers in the city of Charlottetown, and I think the residents require and should be well protected. I know they are by the department. I know many of the men and women that work there, but I know as well as they're very taxed in answering calls. So I really want to stress to council, you know, we have to move forward with this sooner rather than later to see if we can get more people. If you could look into it for me, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Duran. It's going to be on our agenda for next month, and I think both departments, fire and police, both
I know.
say complement of employees that we look at. And again, it's going to be one of those things that we hurry up in the budget season, because I said both departments, I believe, are probably need help. And we'll see what kind of money that.
If we get some more time, we'll come back to you. We need a 15-minute extension, so we need a unanimous vote to go on, correct?
Until completed, your worship.
What?
Until completed. It may be more than 15 minutes.
You want to go until completed? Okay, that could be a little much. Okay, we need someone to move the motion to extend it. Councillor Rivard, second by Councillor Ramsey. All in favor? Councillor Twill?
In favor?
Okay, we move on.
Anyways, we will look at staff
You will be looking at staff.
during budget season for sure.
Councillor McLeod has a question for you.
Just in regards to that, Councillor Duran's comments, so let's not forget, I think some of the reasons for those 4 officers were a traffic division. I think we all heard the need that's there for that. I just want to make sure that we don't get caught up in the fact that the money that we kind of thought would be earmarked for the officers would go toward helping out with their traffic congestion in the city. Thank you.
Good, sir. Okay, that's it.
I got a question.
Okay, question? Go ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Rivera, thank you for your report. Just want to parallel what Councillor Duran just brought up with respect to increasing the members in the Charlottetown Police Department. I attended a drug meeting this past summer, and the Deputy Chief talked about how much the Charlottetown Police Department is under average when it comes to police officers. And I think the figure was, and I stand to be corrected, under the national standards, we're 17 police officers below the national standards. And as you know, Council's made it quite clear over the last number of years, traffic division, foot patrols in the downtown, and other areas where it's warranted. So maybe we can look at the police budget for the upcoming annual budget and see where we can look to add more police officers. Councilor Duran is correct. You know, I think our police department's doing a good job, and I support the department, but we need more police officers on the ground.
Take that under advisement.
Yeah, Councillor Twill, thank you. I agree wholeheartedly that both departments, fire and police, need further staffing. But again, it's an issue that continues to come up every council meeting. So I really, really hope that council as a whole remembers these conversations when it comes budget time, because again, there's a fairly substantial cost to what we're asking. It's not just you know, waving a magic wand. So please remember the conversation, because there will be an ask come budget time, and we'll see if the council is willing to accept at that time.
And fire could be asking the same thing too.
Wow, that's why I said both departments.
Right. Well, I just want to follow up, Councilor Dart, and I thank you for your response. But please keep in mind that we can also reallocate some of the resources in the current budget and add more police officers.
Councillor Twill, I'll leave that to professional senior staff to tell me where money should be allocated.
Well, I know, but that's a council decision in the final analysis.
Thank you.
We'll see it all.
Councilor Rivera, is that it for your report?
It is.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Parks and Recreation.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thanks, Chief. Chief.
Chiefs.
Chief.
Plural.
Your Worship, Parks and Recreation Leisure Activity Committee met on November the 2nd. And from your package. Volunteer of the month, Your Worship, is Pam Trainer. Pam has been involved in Charlottetown Skating Club for the past 17 years, Your Worship. During her time at the club, Pam has held many roles, including test chair, skater development, vice president, and she just recently finished her 2-year term as president and is now past president, Your Worship. Your Worship, as I said, the minutes are in your package. You just have some highlights. One, the Queen Elizabeth Park Pathway project is completed. This project includes upgrading the base, improving the drainage, and putting down an asphalt surface. The paved pathway, Your Worship, is not only good for general public, but allows those in the wheelchairs not only to access the trails, but access the washroom in that area too. So, good project. Well done. I think a lot of people are happy with it. Your Worship, the Hillsborough Park outdoor rink project is near completion. They just have the fencing left installed. Centennial Park pathway upgrades have been completed. The playground equipment installs are all but completed, as staff is working on installing the last piece of equipment for this year. And Your Worship, the Andrews Pond Trail development, the final leg will be completed this fall, as the resolution we passed a little earlier under finance, accepting the land from Ann Barber, allows us to complete the trail where we wanted to locate it, to complete totally around the pond. So thanks again, Your Worship, to John Andrews, Darren Riggs, and especially Ann Barber for that donation. Your Worship, there's the 3 resolutions in the package, and I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councilor Bernard. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, just 1 second. Councilor Ramsey has his hand up there. Councilor Ramsey?
Thank you for your report, Councilor Bernard. I know I sit on there and I echoed the comments with Queen Elizabeth Park. The residents are very pleased down there. And that park, I really noticed, as other councillors can sort of attest to, the last 5-7 years, it's just being used enormously now. Before, the kids used to hang around and burn picnic tables and all 9 yards. All that's gone. So far, knock on wood.
Isn't that good news?
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah, right on.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Twill?
Thank you for your report, Councilor Bernard.
Okay.
Councilor Bernard, there's been some concern raised by the people in the west end of the city regarding the ownership of the boardwalk behind 15 Haviland. Now, just my question is the boardwalk owned by the citizens of this city, or is that boardwalk owned by a private developer?
Councilor, I want to defer that to...
All I can tell you right now, I may refer that to the manager, but my understanding right now is that the temporary pathway, or it's not a boardwalk, but the temporary gravel walkway that's put in there now to go around the construction site, and that it would be replaced after construction. The boardwalk would be replaced. But you know what? I'll refer that to the manager.
So we have
Okay, I'll look to get an answer on that.
We have 2 points of view. Frank, do you want to go first, and then our legal counsel has, or do you want to allow legal counsel to go first?
I'll defer.
Oh, you'll legal counsel?
defer to legal.
Yeah, can you go to the mic, Dave? Go to the mic so we can hear you.
Yeah, there's a portion of, to answer Councillor Teal's question, there's a portion of the walkway in the vicinity we're talking about, Mr. Banks' proposed development, which is currently in private hands, although it's been publicly used for a very long time. There might well be an argument of squatters' rights, if you will, but let's put that aside. In the development agreement that the city entered respecting this development, there is a requirement that an easement be granted over that walkway, so that in future it will be, the city will have an easement over it. A formal one, registered on title, as opposed to squatters' rights, if you will.
So the boardwalk will be there.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Just wait. It'll be as I understand it, it will be, Mr. Forbes will know more precisely than me, but it may be moved a little bit more towards the water, but he has a permit for that. And
Councillor Twill, follow-up questions.
Just to follow up, thank you, Mr. Hooley. So, well, the city of Charlottetown currently has an easement with respect to the placement of the boardwalk. So, I was reading correspondence back and forth, and the follow-up question is, did the easement run out in that it was not signed by senior administration with the city?
I don't know the history of it, but again, there's not currently an easement registered and titled.
Yeah.
So there will be as part of the development agreement in due course.
And David,
before an occupancy permit is issued.
Frank, did you also get some information about that easement that he's talking about?
It was with CEDC, Your Worship.
It was owned by CEDC. And that goes back to 2000 or earlier.
So that boardwalk I'm referring to is not owned by the city, it's owned by CEDC?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Councillor Yankoff?
It was just a follow-up question from what our city solicitor, David, mentioned. You said that the boardwalk will be moved towards the water more when the development is finished. Could you tell me more?
I'm going by memory. It's a number of months ago that I saw the documentation, but my recollection is there's it's not a large, there's a somewhat of a relocation seaward, but that requires permitting from the province. And there was a permit issue which it expired the last time I saw it, but it had to be renewed. That would allow for that to happen. So the same protection of the shoreline would be there. In effect, you're reclaiming a little bit of what's currently underwater.
Right, so just my quick follow-up to that. So it's not going to go out into the water that then affects that, then you have to get into federal jurisdiction and an environmental study, things like that, if it's going to be pushed out?
All of that is part of the conditions of the approval. Yeah, and the province has a role to play in that.
And DFO also? Issues and motions?
I don't recall noticing DFO, but the province certainly has regulations under the Environmental Protection Act.
Councilor Bernard?
No, it just sounds like it's all looked after now. There's easements in place for that, with the development agreements. And so the boardwalk will be replaced. It's going to be in the exact same place. It's going to be a little further close to the water. It'll still be there. And we'll have an updated easement going on in years ahead.
And you'll have a resolution? Three of them. The first one, Mr. Kelly, can you read it?
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Bernard, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that as per the recent request for proposals for the culinary boardwalk to Sydney Street connection, the City of Charlottetown accepts low bid from Earth Forum for $49,490 plus applicable taxes, and that the amount from CEDC of $2,500 plus applicable taxes for professional services be accepted.
Question?
Questions called.
Questions called? All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, next one, sir.
Councilor Bernard, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that as per the request for quotations for...
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That as per the recent request for quotations for snow clearing on municipal properties, the City of Charlottetown accepts the low bid from Landmark Group for Simmons Sports Center at $3,950 plus applicable taxes, and the low bid from Landmark Group for Cody Banks Arena at $4,848 plus applicable taxes, subject to the receipt of required insurance certificates, Your Worship.
Question?
Questions called?
All those in
So,
favor?
no, you go ahead, Greg.
No, I'm just jumping.
Oh,
All those in favor, please put up your hand.
sorry.
Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Bernard, seconded by Deputy Mayor Cody, that the City of Charlottetown accepts the quote in the amount of $76,025 plus total taxes from Harborside Engineering Consultants for the Phase 2 engineering and detailed design work for the Wrights Creek Bridge replacement project, Your Worship.
Okay. Question? Or do you want to speak to it first?
I do, Your Worship.
Yeah.
I just want to let council know and the public, when this bridge was deemed unsafe, it was always intended to replace it at some point. The federal government through ISIP, the federal and the provincial government had approved this in 2019 to rebuild the bridge. It's not a throughway, it's going to go to St. Peter's Road. Some people may have been thinking. The plan was always, like I say, to replace it. The area that it leads into is the old landfill site, which is on the map at some point to convert that over to parking lot. So we're in the capping process for the last number of years. When the landfill site closed in the early 80s, the standards was for 3 inches of top coat, which today is now 3 feet. So that's what we've been doing over the last number of years. So we're getting through that. So this has always been part of the plan to replace that bridge and be able to get across it. So I just want to reiterate, it's not for a throughway going to St. Peter's Road.
And the span, Frank, what's the span for this bridge?
Your Worship, I believe it's in the range of 75 meters.
That's 210 feet plus. It's a lot of, it's a big span.
It's a big creek.
Yeah, well, it's the Wrights Creek, right?
By the French school?
That's what it's called.
Yeah, no, it's beyond the French school. It's
Yeah, but the one that'll lead into the woods there?
Yes,
with the
that's
walk?
the
End of
one.
Kagan
Yeah,
Drive.
yeah.
It's
Nice.
a large span.
It's a beautiful bridge.
Question?
Questions called?
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Okay. And is that it, sir?
That is my report. Your Worship.
Thank you, Councilor Bernard. Yep. Now it's up to Councilor Drawn, Water and Sewer.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. The Water and Sewer Committee met on October 15th, 2020, and the minutes are included in your package for tonight. We have 3 resolutions for your consideration, and if anybody has any questions, I'll ask them as best I can. Thank you.
Thank you there, Councilor Drawn. Any questions? We'll go with the resolutions.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Drawn, seconded by Deputy Mayor Cody, whereas the City of Charlottetown awarded the tender for the East Royalty Lagoon decommissioning in the amount of $884,700 plus HST on September 9th, 2019, and that the additional material management is required at the site. Therefore be resolved that the contract value be increased by $138,000 plus HST to cover the costs associated with the additional material management.
Councilor Bernard, want to say anything about that? It's in your area, huh? It's good news.
I guess so.
Well,
I guess so.
I mean, the problem's back in 2010 to shut it down.
It's part of the decommissioning, and we're glad to see it. That will just add to the footprint for that
Oh, yes.
whole park area between the old landfill site and the lagoon.
It's great. Councilor McGee?
I was just going to say the same thing. It was by the other day when we went in to do the trail work, and it's
Saw the work going
coming
on.
along. It's great, Richard. Clean it up.
Question?
Questions called.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Okay, 10-0.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Drawn, seconded by Deputy Mayor Cody, that the City of Charlottetown accepts the provincial government standing offer of pricing from Hillside Motors for one 2021 Chevy Express cargo van in the amount of $32,930 plus HST.
Questions called?
Questions called. Buying local there, Richard. That's good. All those in favor? Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Conflict with this one too.
Are you in conflict again, Bob?
Yeah.
Or Councilor Drawn?
Your worship, moved by Councilor Twill, seconded by Deputy Mayor Cody, that per the request for quotations for snow clearing of utility properties dated October 15th, 2020, the city of Charlottetown accepts the lowest emissions as follows. Dixon snow removals at sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 1328 Bradley Point Road. Landmark Group, 178 Mount Edward Road, 16960 Route 2, 614 Malpeck Road, 588 Union Road, 791 Suffolk Road, and 18 Riverside Drive. Island Construction, York Road Hydrant. Worship.
Okay.
Questions called.
Councilor Ramsey?
Let's
Got
get on.
questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councilor Twill?
In favor.
Okay. Would you call Mr. Duran back in there? Okay. Councilor Duran, that's it?
That's it.
Thank you
much.
very much, sir.
Thank you.
Advisory, Councilor Advisory. Councilor Yankoff, do you want to present your report?
You chit chat maybe?
I was just going to give him this.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship. The Council Advisory Committee met on October 30th. The open draft minutes are included in your package. There is one resolution for your consideration, and I feel a bit odd to talk about it because it is basically following discussions in closed session by Councilor Duffy and seconded by Councilor or Deputy Mayor Cody, that a resolution regarding the recommendation appointment of Councilor Yankoff as the city's rep on the Downtown Charlottetown Inc. Board of Directors be presented at November's regular council meeting. So, I don't know, am I supposed to leave?
No, you can vote on it.
I don't know.
No, it's not conflict.
Is there any remuneration for this job?
No.
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 It's volunteer. It's like a nomination. You can vote for your own nomination.
Sounds like a council volunteer.
I just want to go first with Councilman.
No, go ahead, Councilor.
Councilor Clark. Oh, thank you, sir. No, he's going to read the resolution. You want to ask a question? Read the resolution. Please.
Your worship, moved by Councilor Duffy, seconded by Councilor Deputy Mayor Cody, that the council approves the appointment of Councilor Alana Yankoff as the city's representative to the Board of Directors of Downtown Charlottetown Inc., DCI, effective immediately.
Okay. So Councilor McLeod, you're first, then Councilor McCabe, and then Bernard. Correct? Just go ahead.
My only concern was that, and probably Councilman McCabe and I are probably going to say the same thing, but I was just going to suggest that it go back to, it can go forward, but depending how the vote goes, but I think it should go to economic development, since that's, DCI is under that committee, so probably should go there, so that the committee does put it in the proper, so we get the proper paperwork done.
Yeah, we can vote on it tonight.
You can vote on that.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're
still, it never vetted here through.
It was just a misstep.
Yeah, I'm just,
Councilor McCabe?
Yeah, and absolutely, and that, I did clarify that today, and I think she's a great candidate for that role.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I'd say is because you'll be the representative, that you'll provide a report to our committee so that we're kept in the loop as far as what's happening. That would be appreciated. I'll support
There's
you.
out there that are looking for some more volunteerism.
Councilor Bernard?
Yeah, no, it was just a question on it, and I agree she'd make a good representative. But I wonder, was this a conversation just in the advisory committee? Or did this go, was the offer put out to all council?
This was a letter, I can speak to that. 'cause
Go ahead,
the letter
you're on the
came-
floor.
The letter came from the executive director and the board of TCI. They asked for the Ward 1 councilor to represent DCI, because we haven't had a councilor for the longest time. I didn't see the letter. I was just told that it went to the office of the mayor or something.
It did.
So
Yeah,
it just went to advisory, it didn't go to council?
it's going to council right now, you're voting on it.
Yeah, but was it offered not put it to anybody else? Like, I'm not saying there is, but I think anytime these appointments come up, I think this happened once already, where it wasn't offered to other people in the room. And I think, is that not what we should be doing? If an offer comes in, it should be offered to everybody.
Well, we spoke about it at the council advisory committee. Councilor Duffy, can you?
But I'm not on that.
No, Councilor Duffy, I'm just asking for his.
I don't know, it wasn't a big deal.
No, and it's probably not, it's just the second time it's happened. I think
Yeah.
that if there's appointments that other people may be interested in.
Yeah.
And this way here, it's between 5 people who make a decision, and then it comes here with an
Yeah.
And you're not gonna, she'll do a great job. So I'm not gonna say, we don't
You
need
look
to
at the-
have there.
you look at the
It's just
process.
point of
Get back
getting
to the
discussed.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the process wasn't followed.
Maybe something with FCM, maybe.
Yeah.
I heard that, Councilor.
Councilor Bernard, I think also the fact that.
What's that? Just 1 second, guys. Sorry, Councilor Duffy. Could you go?
Councilor Yankoff works downtown at DCI, they usually have their meetings during the business day. Looking around this room here, I don't think anybody on a regular basis would want the job.
No, I'm not saying.
No,
all I'm
it's
saying
just a
is-
process.
I'm
It's a
saying,
process. I agree.
nothing wrong with renewal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And that's what Councilor McLeod said.
The other ones will come, we may want
Right?
to know that.
Apologies for how it went, but I think it's a good choice. Question?
Questions called.
All those in favor? Councilor Twill?
In favor?
Okay, 10-0.
Motion to adjourn.
And I just want to say thank you for sticking it out. It's 3 hours and 25 minutes. I know, Mr. Chair of Planning, a lot of extensive work that you put into it, just like the past chair, and I really appreciate it, because it's not an easy portfolio, and I know you did a lot of research on the different issues, so I really want to say thanks, Councilor Duffy. Well done. And tomorrow evening, if you're available, 7 o'clock, we will be honoring some
6 o'clock, isn't it?
6:30.
Gee, seriously?
Jen, what time do we have to be here? For the-
Since 6:30.
It's 7, but if you're here at 6:30, we'll be honoring 5 veterans. It'll be a ceremony just to present them
Maybe I'm wrong about it.
a certification or certificate from the city.
And then after that, we have another.
And then we have the guild afterwards.
It says
Oh, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, but if you want to come early, you can come.
come to the ceremony for.
So I want to thank you again for your patience. And David, thank you. Mr. Kelly, thank you too for being there sometimes. but
I left my phone.
Sometimes you do too much. And we need a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. All in favor? Moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McKay. Unanimous.